All right, we are live.
Yes, we are.
We made it. We made it. I didn't think we are gonna make it, but we did. All right. Wait,
Hi, hello. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Yes, we're gonna be covering the news. People in the live chat are saying news time. Woohoo! And music guy is saying hi, Armin. Hi, Susie. Okay, guys. Yes, we're gonna be covering the news. We're gonna go over 10 news items, mostly related to atheism, religion, secularism. Please make sure you like this video. We're basically doing all this work for you guys, and most of you are getting it for free. So the least you could do is like reward us with your likes, which is doesn't cost you anything other than half a second. You know, even not even that. Depends on how fast you like, right? And and it helps our channel a lot. It's no cost to you, and it helps us. So make sure you do that. Okay, so there's that. Okay.
If you do want to support us financially, you should join our Patreon. What we do would not be possible without our patrons. Link in the description below. And you can join and get all sorts of perks and little gifts for as little as $1 a month. And it helps us. So.
Okay. Lucas saying, keep up the good work.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Qasim saying it's not likable yet. Okay, Qasim, I'm going to. What are you talking about? We deliver every time. So I don't know what you're talking about. Damn freeloaders. Oh, go.
D is asking about how my talk was yesterday. I just wanted to quickly say thank you to so many amazing people for showing up to my virtual talk at the Humanist Society of Santa Barbara. Everyone was so nice and supportive to me. I was taken aback. It was lovely. If you missed it, the Humanist Society of Santa Barbara will be uploading it to their YouTube channel soon. So I'll be sure to promote it so you guys can go check it out then.
Thanks to everybody who showed up, by the way. Thank you. You guys were awesome. I saw you in the live chat. That was really nice that you guys showed up. You guys show up every time. That's very sweet. Hi, Ghost Bunny. Yeah, Qasim also liked it. Oh, wait.
Ghost Bunny saying, Armin's hair is very likable. Looks nice tonight.
Oh, really? I was stressing out over so it's getting too long. I don't know how to manage it anymore. Maybe I should cut it out. No, let it stay.
It was funny to me because that was a bit of a panicked rush before the show.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never had long hair before, so I don't know what to do. I don't know how to deal with this. Right? Okay, cool.
Oh my goodness! It's not April Fool's Day, but it must be a crazy day because we have our local Hindu nationalists saying Allahu Akbar. People.
Oh wow! Allahu Akbar, people. Wow, it's opposite day today. Yeah. All right. Like people's. Oh, Ghostman saying, "Don't cut your hair. It looks nice." And Gray Jetty is saying, "Let it grow, Armin." Okay. Cool. I hope at some point it will get long enough so I don't have to do anything. It will just do a thing by itself. I don't like spending time on my hair. All right. Okay. So we're also on Twitch. But we should get started. But thank you everybody. We should get started though. Can we?
I said, yeah. Let's get started.
All right. Cool. Can we clap for the first news?
Yes.
We can. Okay. First news.
Nutjob pastor goes on a literal witch hunt. On February 13th, during the end of the service, the Global Vision Bible Church's pastor, Reverend Greg Locke, began telling his church about the witches amongst them. He shared his quote-unquote conversation with a demon who disclosed to him the names of 6 witches in his church. Quote, "We got the first and last names of 6 witches that are in our church," Locke proclaimed. He explained that the demon who gave him the names of the witches was from an exorcism he performed on a new member. He then continued to recount his conversation with the demon, complete with grungy voice switching. He warned the church members that if they did anything objectionable, he would expose the names. The Reverend assured his congregants that he was being truthful by swearing on the Bible. And for those who are not aware, Pastor Locke is nationally infamous for his conservative, homophobic, and dangerously conspiratorial sermons.
All right, there's a clip. We should play the clip.
Yes, this
Ahmed
is
Mehta,
wild.
Ahmed Mehta provided the clip.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's watch it.
We got first and last names of 6 witches that are in our church. And you know what's strange? 3 of you are in this room right now.
What the hell?
3 of you in the room right now. You better look in my eyeballs. We ain't afraid of you, you stinking witch. You devil worshiping Satanist witch. We cast you out in the name of Jesus Christ. We break your spells. We break your curse. We got your first name. We got your last name. We even got an address for one of you.
Ducks.
You so much as cough wrong, and I'll expose you in front of everybody in this tent, you stinking witch. You were sent to this church to destroy us. You were sent to this church to lure us in. You were sent to this church to cast spell. Listen, some of you been sick because you befriended that witch. 2 of you in my wife's ladies Bible study, and you know who you are, and we gonna ask you to get out, or I'll expose you in front of everybody. We got all 6 of their names. All 6 of them. 2 of them had already been confirmed before that thing ever even said it. First and last name. This chick is new to our church and don't know none of you. So you got a choice. You can leave with your spells all by yourself. Or I'll show up next Sunday with a stage full of brooms. And I'll give you one and I'll fly your tail up out of this place in the name of Jesus. But we ain't playing your spell casting, witchcraft, nonsense, sage burning games. Everybody okay? The witches are like, nope. And your little dog too. You're out, witch.
Okay,
Oh
what
my
the
God.
hell is going on? What is this? How?
Like, this is so many. There's so many different levels to this.
Is this like a personal? I think like it potentially. Okay, my guess, which I have no proof for, but I would bet money on it, is that there was a personal, grudge or something happening, drama happening between these women and his wife, and people are just talking drama behind each other. And he's like, I know what to do. I'm just gonna come out and call them witches and threaten them by showing them that I could just call them witches. I know who they are, and they're speaking bad behind my back. If I come out in front of everybody and threaten them that I'm going to mention their name as witches, and they see that there's all these people that now they're going to think we're witches, that's a very legitimate threat, right? Like, I think that's a very powerful threat that they could use against somebody just to settle scores or just to end the drama, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I
think it's a tool.
So Hemant Mehta follows him very closely and his antics. And the live chat is killing me right now with the most hilarious comments.
Wait.
But Hemant Mehta was talking about how he's been switching between a lot of really controversial subjects, including some topics that we can't talk about on YouTube because we could get punished for misinformation. So I'm not like, a lot of people are already familiar with him because of these really crazy stances he takes on these things, but I can't talk about it here. So you guys can just go look it up. But yes. And so
wait, hint at them. What do you hint at them? No, we can't.
For the things that go on your arms, or maybe the things that go over your face, or maybe that a certain political party is of the devil and that they do things to children.
Okay. Anti-Semitic conspiracy theories mixed with the whole responding to pandemic measures. That kind of Q conspiracy theories.
Yes, he is adjacent to that whole.
He's Q adjacent. Okay.
We gotta make that a new thing, Q adjacent. But yeah, so Heaven Meta, when he was like reporting on this, was talking about how he thinks that he's just trying to switch to other topics that are going to, like, again, get that kind of attention and outrage. Or, you know, he's moving in between these to try to stay relevant. That's what he was hypothesizing. But holy cow. I love this comment from Ghost Bunny. There be witches in this church, doesn't Iris jig. We ain't afraid of you. Saying this is very David Koresh feel. So for those who don't know, this David Koresh is like a cult leader. And Pastor Greg Locke definitely preaches a lot of things and promotes ideologies that are explicitly dangerous and are definitely fit within certain models of cult behavior and cult thought. So yes, you get that vibe for a reason. Oh, interesting. Secular Rarity is saying, I mean, seriously, he has had a total change in character over the last few years, and there are stories from his ex-wife and others that really do seem to indicate a mental break. Huh, I wasn't aware of this. If true, that's very interesting. You know, it's sometimes hard to tell how much of it is someone leaning into this type of rhetoric because it is a moneymaker. His popularity, he's exploded over the past 2 years. I've never seen him talked about so much before. And so how much of it is just, you know, self-aligned interest in that vein, and then how much of it does he actually leave?
Say that last part again. Your audio got cut for a second.
I was just saying how much of it is self-aligned interest, and then how much
again. Guys, is it just cutting for me, or is it just for me, or is it for everybody? Is your headset out of battery?
I'm not using my headset.
Oh. Okay, so maybe it's just me. But yeah, go on.
Well, now I can't remember what I was saying. Or does he actually believe what he's saying, basically?
No, it was just me.
Okay. But yes. I just knew we had to talk about this because it was just so wild. I was like, oh, so this is where we are in 2022? This is where we are in America? Okay. All
right, so one thing it's a concern here is, like, this is not a good method of getting rid of witches. Like, you're coming here and you're promising them new brooms. Did you see it at the very end?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what kind of brooms are going to be? Like Nimbus 2000? He's like, I'm going to get you all brooms and watch you fly out of here. I'm like, more witches are going to show up. I'm going to, like, where's my broom? Like, free gifts for witches? Like, that's not a good way to get rid of witches.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Like, I wonder what he thinks witches are actually like. Does he mean people who just practice Wicca? Because they don't actually do stuff with brooms like
women who speak will be based on Christianity standards. Okay. Women with any woman who does anything basically other than full submission is enough to be, at some point in history, that was enough for you to be a witch.
Blank Name is saying, is this the same guy who burns Harry Potter books? Yes. This is like the move he went to after burning the Harry Potter books, and that was partly else what Hemet Meta was talking about. This is kind of like in line with this satanic, this particular flavor of satanic panic that he's gone down. I mean, he's been on the satanic panic thing for a while, but now it's kind of shifted into slightly a witchcraft vein. A lot of times they think that because the Greek word for pharmaceuticals is like pharmakia or something, they think that, and then that's like vaguely referenced in the Bible in some place, that they think this is a sign of witchcraft and that pharmaceuticals are witchcraft and all this kind of stuff.
Okay, YouTube, that's not what we're saying. Okay, that's not what we're saying. We're just talking about other people's crazy beliefs that we're against. Okay, every time we talk about health-related stuff and drugs and stuff, we have to be very careful. You get YouTube might be stupid and think that we're saying it. Okay, last time we got a strike like that. By the way, burning Harry Potter books is like in supporting Harry Potter technically, because you kind of have to buy them, no, to burn them. Wouldn't you be funding Harry? Like, wouldn't you be supporting Harry Potter too when you're burning Harry Potter books? I don't know.
I guess if you're buying a new copy, if you just already had some available to you, or you go
I mean, they
steal some
got the
other
funding.
people's.
Like, this is like book burning doesn't work the same way that it did before. Okay, like
Mhm.
books used to be the main containers of information. That's where you stored information, right? Now books are not like the main stores of information. They're stored digitally. The books are just a representation of the stored data for people's convenience, right? So book burning, if you burn a book, you're not removing the content. The content will always be there and it's always going to be accessible to people. All you're doing is like getting rid of copies that were already paid for. Either you're buying new copies, then therefore you're funding it, or if you're burning copies that were already bought, then the process of funding it was already done. This is not going to remove anything. Yeah, so it's just weird.
It's symbolic. Oh my gosh, Puya is saying someone was at the book burning event and threw in the Bible and said, "Hail Satan." It was hilarious.
Oh,
wait,
that's
Puya, are
funny.
you serious? Can you send that to me on Instagram? That would be, I really want to see that. From Stormy on Twitch is saying Armin needs to wave but "It's not us" banner every time we talk about some strike-worthy stuff. We should though.
Yeah, we should.
Us.
Wait, I could do that. I could add a banner right now. Hold on. Just
oh my gosh, wait, you're right. This is perfect. How did we not think of this sooner? Oh my gosh.
And we could make it scroll. Here.
YouTube, it's not.
Yeah. Okay, we'll have this every time we're saying something controversial. Describing someone else's controversy.
Yes.
Cool. Good idea. All right. And highlight that comment.
What's funny is that I have some friends that live in the area of this guy and his big church, and they're like, so what do you say? You fly down here, we go expose ourselves as some witches.
Yeah, see what's gonna happen to you if you were like, yes, I'm here, I'm a witch, I was promised a broom. What will happen? Try it.
I don't know.
Somebody
they'll probably like yell at you and pull you out of their tent congregation.
Would you physically be in danger?
I think they would definitely very strongly physically escort you out. I don't think they would take it farther than that.
If they assault you, then you could press charges.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not Pakistan, right?
Yeah, this is America. We can.
Yeah.
We can do
so
that.
Make sure you have your phone out the entire time and live streaming the entire thing. So that All right.
Just like you raise your hand, like I'm.
By the way,
here.
this is. Actually, guys, don't do any of this, okay? We were just hypothetical. Like, we don't want to encourage anybody to do anything that is risky or might put you in danger, okay? So we were just like, this is just like, okay, we have to be very careful what we say.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. All right. We're just joking. We're kidding. We're not encouraging any of this behavior, okay?
Show up and you're like, I was promised a broom. Oh, apparently for the guy who burnt the Bible, they didn't physically do anything to him, but they did try to give him an exorcism.
By force?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Let's go to the next news. Can we clap for the next news?
No.
Oh. Next news.
Pakistani Hindu teacher sentenced to life in prison for blasphemy. On February 8th, Nautan Lal, a Hindu college teacher in the Sindh province of southern Pakistan, received a life sentence for blasphemy. The court order also included a fine of 50,000 rupees, or close to $300 USD. He has been in jail for more than 2 years since his arrest in September 2019, after his request for bail was denied twice. A video of a secondary level student claiming that he saw the teacher commit blasphemy against the Prophet Muhammad had gone viral. After watching the video, Jamaat Al-Sunat, a Muslim religious organization in Pakistan, and Mufti Abdul Karim, a local cleric, filed a report against him. Local Muslim groups pressured the court to impose a life sentence for Lal. Lal's cousin told Radio Free Europe that other than the one student's claims, there was no other eyewitness account.
What? So you could just settle scores, or just like, hey, you got a bad grade, you could just accuse your teacher of blasphemy, and that's about it? And then they're getting sentenced to life in prison? No, okay, it's ridiculous that
we've been knowing this, Armin. Yes.
I refuse not to get shocked by this. Okay, people are like, oh, this is Pakistan, why are you shocked? I will be shocked every goddamn time. You just a student can just come and be like, oh, I saw him do blasphemy, and now he's sentenced like with nothing else, and now he's sentenced to prison. You know, the levels of absurdity is crazy, because us, like, we're atheists, okay, and we're very much against blasphemy laws. But even us, we're like looking at like, where's the evidence? As if there was like, this is the new standard that we're like, that even us are like being forced to submit to, because when every time we're like, oh, he's like in jail with no evidence for blasphemy, we're almost suggesting as if there was evidence for blasphemy, like this would be better. Okay,
you have
like
a good point.
Yeah, but we cannot not. I mean, it's ridiculous that we're even looking for evidence, but it is more absurd that no evidence is needed. Like, I don't think like it's too outrageous for us to be like, point out that there is no evidence. Like, you could just randomly come and be like every single non-Muslim in Pakistan, every single non-Sunni Muslim in Pakistan is just a sitting duck, just waiting for an accusation. You could be eliminated by any random Sunni man just by being like, I saw him do blasphemy. Okay, you better not lend anybody any money. If you're a goddamn teacher, you better give everybody A's or whatever they give in Pakistan. Just make sure you're like, submit to everybody and every time at all time, and you're 100% polite, and make sure you don't look at anybody the wrong way. Make sure you don't piss off anybody, because all they have to do is be like, I saw him do blasphemy, and your entire life is ruined. This guy got sentenced. Like, he went through the process. Like, it's now like, this is official. He's got sentenced.
Yeah, there's still the opportunity for appeal, and so his legal counsel is going to try to appeal it, but he still received this sentence.
Unbelievable. So even if you don't get the sentence, by the way, guys, let me tell you, even if you don't get sentenced, okay, so way before the level of this guy, your life is still ruined if you get the accusation, right? Let's say, for example, they will come arrest you. They will, everything in your life would be on a pause, okay? And even if you don't get a sentence, there will be mobs always believing that you did blasphemy, okay? It will get covered on the news. People know where you live. It's you live in hell. Pakistan is like hell now. It's like the closest thing to hell. You're under complete constant stress. And for people who might say like, why would they just leave where? Like, you guys, like, people who are Americans or Europeans or Canadians, they have these passports that lets them go anywhere they want, and they don't understand that the rest of the world doesn't have that option. Okay, the rest of the world doesn't have the mobility that you have with your first world passports. Okay, so it's not like that. They can't just leave. They can't just go and live like, oh, I'm gonna live in this country now. It's not that. It's impossible for most people to just leave and go to another country and just stay there. It's impossible. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I want to read a little bit more information from the Hindustan Times, saying so what's interesting is he actually owns this college that he worked at. And so the student made this claim, and then this got to the local Islamic clerics, and then they filed a police report. And then as the news spread, a protest erupted in the town, and a violent mob attacked the Satram Dham temple and damaged its idols in Gotki. The caretaker of the Satram temple, Jai Kumar, later said that around 50 masked men had attacked the temple, but some 500 Muslims later came and guarded the temple the whole night. And I just think this is so crazy that there's basically no evidence against him, and that they denied him bail so many times, besides just like this one student's claim. And then it just went viral. But the authorities were under such pressure from the Muslim community surrounding them that they basically had no other choice. In many ways, it may have been a more responsible thing to do to take him in, given the pressure from the community and the fact that they attacked the temple. They might have gone in to just go attack and kill him instead. Unfortunately. Is it just me, or is Armin frozen? Wait, let me check. Oh. Wait a minute. He's coming. Hello?
Connection is bad today, sorry. Am I
Oh,
here?
wait, we accidentally took off your screen share.
Yeah, I'll bring it back.
Okay, thank you. One thing else that I learned today was, as I said, this happened in Sindh province. And a lot of times when we're talking about these kinds of news stories that come out of Pakistan, particularly in regards to violence against minorities and forced conversions of minority community girls, they're almost always happening in Sindh province. And I kind of like had a hard time figuring out why that was. Well, I learned today that the majority of Pakistan's Hindu minority actually reside in Sindh. So it's like, oh, that makes so much more sense why we get so much news about the religious violence coming out of this province, since this is where so much of the religious minority is centered. Oh no, he's frozen again. Oh my goodness. Hello?
You just keep speaking. I'm figuring. Don't worry about me. Just keep speaking. Yeah, don't worry.
Okay, sorry. It's distracting. I'll try. But yes, that was the end of my commentary on this news. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, sorry about the technical issues I've had. I had connection issues, but I think it should be fixed now. In case every time I get disconnected like this, just like don't just act like nothing is happening, because like there's nothing I can do about it. Okay. All right. Anything in the live chat you want to highlight before we go to the next news?
Ghost Bunny is very pleased that for a second there were two Armins.
Thank you, Ghost Bunny. That's very sweet. I appreciate that.
Ghost is saying, I think Poochie is chewing on the wires. Like my dog is chewing on the Wi-Fi cable.
Oh, actually, they sometimes do that. Good. This is why they can't be here when we go live on there. Okay, cool. All right, can we clap for the next news?
Yes, we can.
All right, next news.
Christian revival at high school starts. Rewind. Next news. Christian revival at high school sparks student protest for secularism. Woo! In West Virginia, on February 9th, more than 100 students of West Virginia's Huntington High School protested a recent Christian revival assembly. The students were told that their participation in the assembly was compulsory. During the walkout, students chanted, quote, "Separate church and state," and "My faith, my choice." According to Jed Flowers, a spokesperson for the Cabell County Schools, the event was supposed to be voluntary, but teachers allegedly thought the event was compulsory. Bethany Valentine, a parent of one of the students, said her Jewish son tried asking permission to leave, but was told he couldn't go because the classrooms were locked. The students were also told that those who did not follow the Bible would go to hell. Freedom from Religion Foundation sent a letter to the Cabell County School District stating that it's inappropriate and unconstitutional for the district to proselytize to students during school hours on school property. The American Civil Liberties Union of West Virginia stated that these activities are a violation of the students' civil rights.
So what's going to happen to them legally?
Well, actually, if you look at in the notes on the third news, there's a second link that I would like you to bring up because this is breaking news.
Ooh, okay. Breaking news. Okay.
Breaking news.
YouTube or FFRF? There's two
FFRF.
links. Okay. I'm bringing it up. Breaking.
So the latest update is that FFRF is actually filed a federal lawsuit against the school district because of this.
FFRF, for people who don't know, is a Freedom from Religion Foundation. It's the main guard in the United States between religion and the public sphere and the school actually, public schools, government institutions, and everywhere where religion shouldn't be. Any violation of secularism in the United States is fought against by the Freedom from Religion Foundation. So for people who don't know, but yeah, so what happened? So they sued them. That's great.
Yes.
This is the organization that makes sure that there's a cost when any violations like this happens in the United States. Okay, so
Exactly.
You guys, any American should be very, very grateful for Freedom from Religion Foundation. I think a lot of Americans don't know how much they owe the Freedom from Religion Foundation because it's like the main guard against stuff like this, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Do you say I'm a member? Shouts out. Everyone should go support Freedom from Religion Foundation if they're able.
Well, not everybody. Everybody, like if you're struggling financially.
Well, that's what I just said. If they're able.
Oh, okay. Sorry. This is great. By the way, this is why United States is still superior to all these other countries that we complain about when it comes to secularism. Like, we keep complaining. We do complain about a lot of things in the United States, okay? But you have to take things into context relatively. Stuff like this, like, in some countries, people go to jail forever for blasphemy. In some countries where religion is trying to be forced upon children in schools, you get a backlash, you get consequences, right? You get real consequences, right? So this is why United States is still ahead of the rest of you. Okay, one of the reasons. Okay.
Oh wow. Yeah. Squirrel Coney is saying, I put the Freedom from Religion Foundation in my will. Atheist Republic too.
Oh wow.
Amazing.
Wow. How old are you?
You're terrible.
I'm kidding.
Inappropriate.
No, I'm kidding.
Wait, so there's a YouTube video about this incident that I want to play. Can you bring that up, please?
Yes.
Blank Name is saying, I'm a citizen now. This makes me feel so good.
Oh,
awesome. I didn't know that. Congratulations.
Wait, congratulations. That's amazing. Okay, hold on.
We have a new American amongst us. And we get to call Blank Name a proud American. Hell yeah. That's right, baby. Welcome.
Yeah, I think the only way you could be proud about being an American is that if you actually had to do something to become an American. Like, I don't think it makes sense for somebody to be a proud American if they didn't do anything. I think pride is for things you do, not for the things that you're just handed to you, right? But yeah, so Blank Name, you could be proud to be American because you actually took some steps in getting it. Anyway, so here's the clip.
Yeah, so this is so we can actually see some footage from what happened at this school.
If I were to ask how many of you believe in this man, most of you would raise your hands and say yes. And if you believe that everything in this book is true, then you must also believe the parts about judgment, about heaven and hell. And so the first option you have is hearing him say, well done. The second,
the separation of church and state and religious freedom as a concept are founding basic tenets of this country, you know, and the kind of culture and lifestyle that we all live. And just to see that defamed and ignored in such a blatant way, it's disheartening. And we would very much like to see some kind of formal disciplinary action taken against the teachers that force their students to attend.
and so the first option you have is hearing him say, well done. The second thing that might happen to you is he might look at you like, maybe like some of you look at some people.
But I want to read something I wrote to you. I said, I want
My
to
God.
apologize to you when we went to the auditorium yesterday. I was not familiar with the people associated with the Christian athletes. I thought they would be discussing choices and goals with you. I should have had us leave, but I did not want to be rude.
Because, you know, my son said the teacher and faculty and administration were there, and they were praying alongside people from this ministry. They were participating in it as if it were a church service. So if she was somehow shocked as to what was going on at the time, she sure didn't act like it when it was going on.
These mother.
That's something we'd never force on anybody, and we have no enemies. Whether it's in a church or in a school or on the street, the vision is to give hope by showing people.
Look at these people. Look at them. Okay, you have giant, like, look at the facilities they have. Look at all the resources they have. Is that not enough for you? You have to come and force this up in schools? Like, you have your own places. You have your own freedom. You could do all these, like, Jesus woo crap as much as you want in your own personal, private areas. Like, you have everything. You have more resources to spread your bull crap more than any other religion in the United States. You have all of this. And it's like, no, it's not enough. We have to come and into your school in a place that is not meant for these. And we have to, like, force our way as there as well. Like, sit down. Just sit down. Oh my God, somebody needs to, like, show these people their place. But yeah.
Well, that's what we have the law for, baby.
Wow,
So
this was an Associated Press. I'm glad this got so much attention.
Oh, this
Wow.
got national and international coverage. This was a really big deal because this is really not supposed to happen. And this is really against, like, so many different aspects of our law and what our country stands for. A large portion of the problem comes from the fact that this happened during school hours. So it happened during a period that these students have in their day that's kind of like a voluntary break where they can go study or they can, I don't know, maybe have an extra lunch, but it's a break period. And during this break period is when these students were taken into this Christian assembly that was happening in the middle of school hours. So it's very common for public schools to rent out their spaces to different organizations. Like, oftentimes they'll have Alcoholics Anonymous, have their meetings on these properties, but these are typically happening after school hours. They should be happening after school hours. Legally, religious organizations are allowed to use and rent these properties, but it's supposed to be after school hours so this kind of thing doesn't happen. So this was just like a huge violation. And the fact that some teachers somehow thought that this was like mandatory, and so they made the students go, that's where a lot of this problem really lies. I thought it was awesome to see how much the students have come and spoken out about this. I saw Secular Rarity saying earlier in the chat that we wouldn't have known about this if students were not informed on their rights and spoke out against it. Or knew to take footage of this and be like, this isn't right. In the article and by the Associated Press, it was an exchange between a kid and his father while the preacher is going on about how if you're not, don't find salvation through Jesus Christ, you'll go to hell. to these students, and it's like, I'm going to make sure that everyone who's here today, you know, doesn't leave without knowing him. And he's texting his dad and was like, is this legal? And then the dad is like, no, it's not.
See, this is good. This is what, okay, so oxymoron is in India, right?
I believe so.
So oxymoron is saying, I really don't understand why this is a big deal. I know it's a problem, but nothing very shocking. So this is a difference.
No, it is.
Yes, so this is a good thing. So these kids have been informed of their rights. So because they are more aware of their rights, they know that this is a problem, and that's why they're taking an action. So this is why a top-down approach, it doesn't just work. Like, you can't just like change policies and laws. You also that's important, but you also need to make sure that you create a population of people that are educated and aware of their rights, and they see that this is as a problem. Like, you're not going to see people fight for secularism if they have oxymorons attitude. And if they have oxymoron attitudes, they're like, oh, it's not a big deal. This is why you get India, and this is why you get Pakistan. This is why you get Bangladesh. This is why you get like countries that people don't see worth protecting their rights. They see it not a big deal, and the politicians and the laws will reflect how much people are willing to fight for their rights, because governments are not just going to come voluntarily just give you their rights. These are things that you need to fight for, and to make people fight for it, you have to make sure they understand that these are their rights and also worth fighting for. With this attitude, you're going to lose your secularism, and this is the attitude that leads into India losing its secularism.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously like a cultural thing, and me just kind of being raised around the norms of this country, but this is shocking as an American. Yeah. This is very unusual, and this shouldn't be happening. You see all these other kinds of technicalities, like, you know, after school evangelicism and stuff, but actually forcing public school students to go to a Christian revival is such a massive violation. I don't know how much it's fair to say that this is why you get, you know, situations like you see in India, Armin. I don't think that's entirely fair. I know a lot of people who are deeply bothered by the fact that in police stations there will be shrines. They're like, this is unacceptable. So it's not
black. Yeah, but that's black and white thinking. Okay, it's a spectrum. It's not like it's either there or not there. Obviously, in every country there are people who care about this, right? Large number of people who care about this, right? I'm just using an anecdotal evidence to make a wider point. Like, the more people are willing to defend their secularism, the more you're going to see, you know, the higher cost that people who want to challenge it have to pay, right? The more people, I don't think it's very controversial to say that there are more people in the United States that see this as a value than on a per capita basis, you know, on an average basis relative to India, right? More people in India are willing to sacrifice secularism in favor of defending religious values, or even people who are in favor of secularism. Sometimes they see it as not a big deal if it's just like, I don't know, prayer in school, or like bindi, you know, in school, and that's why like they just open the door to religion in places where religion doesn't belong, right? And then they're going to wonder how they lost their values. So you just pointing out some examples of people. Yeah, there are many people in India who are fighting the fight, right? But on average, this is not as big as seen as important as people see it in like France or like Canada or United States, right? The idea of secular, separation of church and state, or church and, you know, public schooling, are things that are more fundamental in, I don't know, in countries like France, Canada, United States than it is in India and Pakistan. And again, it starts from the education, right? It starts like the education system is your future. If you do not defend that, if you let religion enter that sphere, then you lose the future of your country. So it is a very important, place that you need to guard against the dominance of religion. It is your country's future. Like, what could be more important? The idea of this is not being that important is ridiculous, right? And I know this is anecdotal, so I'm not saying this as a proof. This is just an example, but it is not as much as we are proud of all the secular activists and atheist activists that are in India. they are outnumbered. Okay, so I'm not dismissing their activities. I think like we should just help them recruit with recruitment. That's what I'm saying. Relatively, they're behind.
Yeah, I just feel like that's a little bit of a generalization, or maybe not.
It's stats. It's not generalization, because I didn't say all.
I don't know if that's directly attributable to those things. Like it's
Oh, it is
seems a little
it's very
bit-
directly. It is definitely the more people. Okay, so it's not generalization, because I didn't say everybody's like that. I just said it's less. Okay, it's not like it's either there or not there. Okay, it could be more in one country and less in another country. It would be generalization if I said everybody in India is like that. That would be a generalization, right? In fact, if you do not acknowledge the fact that there's not enough activity, there's not enough defense of these values in India, that's actually that actually is more helpful, because you understand that there's a lot more work need to be done, right? And you're trying to provide a platform and facilities for people to increase those kinds of activities, right? And also, if you think like it's not attributable, like again, it goes into the philosophy of thinking like, oh, the government will just provide this. We can just only complain about the government and the things that they're not providing for us. No, this is something that you take from the government. It's not something that the rights are something that you take from governments. It's not something that governments just gift to you. Okay, so for you to fight and take rights from the government, you need to have an attitude that these are rights worth fighting for. So obviously, if you do not have that attitude, these rights will not be taken. So it is directly correlated. It's one-on-one. Right? So it has a very high R value, the correlation.
Okay. This is wait, where is it? This is hilarious. Doorknob Head is saying that he just crossed out "In God We Trust" 25 times on his paper money because of Atheist Republic in this story. I'm just imagining him furiously with all of his cash.
Well, thank you for your service, Doorknob. Thank you for your service, sir.
And Blank Name is saying, interesting thing is that when you take the oath to become a citizen, you have to agree, so help me God. I think there have been legal cases where you don't actually literally have to do this. There is an alternative. I could be wrong, but that would be shocking to me if there was not a completely like not mentioning God alternative that was not as legally acceptable.
Yeah. Wait.
Secularity is saying legally you don't have to, just like swearing in court. That's what
I know, but you don't have to, but it should also not be encouraged, because you might like the idea of you feeling like everybody else is doing it and you're gonna feel like the odd one out. I think it shouldn't be something that is even brought up, like, oh, we're gonna do it, but you don't have to do it. Like, you're gonna look like less American or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, you're gonna feel like, oh my, like I'm joining this country to feel like I belong here, and from the very beginning it seems like I'm not saying something that everyone else say, like, hey, welcome, you're one of us, I guess. Maybe like the rest of us are saying this, but you're not. I guess you're one of us. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't come. I think it should be illegal to even bring it up. Anyways,
Mustafa is saying, when I got my citizenship, I just said, so help me, and they shrugged it off.
Yeah, but you don't have to be forced to. You don't have to go through that. Like, people are like, me, okay, whatever. Like, no, it shouldn't be like. It shouldn't be something that like. It's kind of like saying we're gonna have prayer in classrooms, but you don't have to pray as a student.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be the kid, like everybody's praying and everybody's like, I'm just gonna be like the one who's sitting, and people are like what's wrong with this kid? You know what I mean? Like, it's like a very the environment that you're creating is just like telling non-religious people or non-Christians that you're otherized. Oh, the word is otherizing. You're otherizing non-religious people or non-Christians, right? So yeah, Mustafa, I'm sorry. I don't know. Yeah, you shouldn't have gone through that. You shouldn't have been made to.
So many naturalized citizens in the chat today. USA, USA, USA.
By the way, Americans who, naturalized, is that what you say it?
Mhm.
Yeah, they know more about America than most Americans, because they have to actually go through a citizenship test, right? I
Yeah.
think I think that's unfair. Like, why do these people have to go through a citizenship test, but all these other Americans don't have to?
You know
I
what's
think,
funny is for a lot of people, so in America during high school, you have to take American history classes. And so what some history classes have started to do is to pass the class, you have to be able to pass the test they give you to become a US citizen.
yeah,
I love
Oh,
that.
really?
I think that's kind of cool.
yeah. Okay, I got distracted by this comment because Mustafa made a misspelled something, and it sounds more funny now than what he meant to say. So he corrected it later, but but read this anyway. It's just
I
funny.
paid $1,000 for the process. If I didn't get my citizenship, they know I'll be kissed.
He then corrected it. He said
You meant to
piss,
say
not
pissed.
kiss. Yes, but imagine if that was the process. Like, we are not gonna give you our citizenship, but we'll give you kisses instead. Come here. Come here. Does it make you
Come
feel
here,
better?
you beautiful bastard. You're not American. You're an American.
No, you're not an American, but here
I know
we
you're
give
not
you
an American.
kisses.
You beautiful
But at least we
bastard.
give you kisses.
Oh my god.
Okay. All right. All right.
Oh my god.
Okay. Okay, should we clap for the next news?
Oh no, this is not good news at all. We're covering a lot of Pakistan news this week, and unfortunately,
what is
it's
a
all
roller
bad.
coaster? Okay, we can't just do like okay news, bad news, okay news. Like, we're like in a good mood, and all of a sudden we have to go in a bad mood. Like, maybe we should like put all the bad news next to each other and the good news next to each other. I don't know.
Well,
fine.
I switch on and off because I don't want it to be a complete bummer the whole time.
Okay, yeah,
You
you're
know,
right.
I wanna lift
But
the
then-
mood.
But then,
But
like,
then you
have to, like-
crash the mood.
Yeah, yeah. But then, like, we're like still on the high from the previous news. Okay, fine. Okay.
This is hilarious. You can't be an American, but goddamn, those lips look good.
Are you okay?
I'm
Okay.
crying. Oh my god.
Oh god. See, now we can't go to the next news. We need recovery time because it's gonna look insensitive if we go. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Let me drink some
let's
water. My abs hurt.
All right. Yes, you're right. Pakistan is bad news. Yeah. Well, I mean, have we ever had any good news from Pakistan?
Yeah, sometimes blasphemy cases get acquitted.
Yeah.
That's good news.
Yeah. When people
sometimes
only lose
Kidnapped
when
girls get
basically when
returned to their
people
families.
when people lose years of their lives and don't die, that's by Pakistani standards, that's good news. Yeah. Anyways, oh, no clapping. Okay, next news.
Next news, mob lynches mentally disabled Pakistani man for alleged burning of the Quran. On February 12th, Mohammed Mushtaq, a 41-year-old man, was killed by an angry mob in the Khanewal district of Pakistan. According to the Associated Press, Mian Mohammed Razan, the mosque custodian, told people that he saw Mushtaq burning a page of the Quran. Triggered by the accusation, people started to attack and assault Mushtaq. Muhammad Iqbal, a police officer, and two subordinates tried taking custody of Mushtaq for the alleged blasphemous act, but the crowd began throwing stones at them as well. By the time the reinforcements arrived, Mustaq was already dead. Munawar Hussain, a police officer, said, quote, "The villagers armed with baton, axes, and iron rods killed him and hanged his body from a tree." According to Munawar Jujar, chief of Tulamba police station, Mustaq had been mentally unstable for the past 15 years, and according to his family, often went missing from home. Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan said he is shocked by the incident and will work with the Chief Minister of the Punjab province to get a report on the case.
Yeah, nothing is going to happen. Nothing serious is going to happen. Imran Khan said that?
Mm-hmm.
Imran Khan said he's shocked?
Yeah.
That's what he's like.
Shocked
You're not
and
shocked.
anguished.
You're not shocked. You know that you fueled this. You fueled this for political gains. This is not even your ideology, Imran Khan, but you fueled it for cheap political gain, and it's now coming back at you. And you're like, you're shocked. You're responsible for this, Imran Khan. Where are all those people that had so much hope in Imran Khan? Where are they now? He leaned into this crowd. He leaned into this crowd that does some stuff like this. He fed them. He poured gasoline on this fire, and now he's like, I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
Yeah. It's just a horrible incident. There's some inconsistencies on the reporting on this, just like full disclosure, like different news agencies reported different ages for him. Some say he's around 41 years old. Some say that he's around the age of 50. There's also different reporting about so we do know that he was stoned at one point, basically. But there's different reporting about if the police tried to secure him and charge him first, and then they snatched him from the police because they didn't have enough reinforcements. And then some say that actually all this happened, and then the police showed up and found that he had already been killed.
Honestly, I don't even know what to expect from the police anymore in Pakistan. Like, honestly, if you were the police and you had to deal with this mob, like the mob in Pakistan is a lot stronger than this, than the police right now. Like the military is the only group that could like deal with this mob, right? But the police isn't. Like we reported news here before that the one time the police was holding one of these people that was accused of blasphemy, and the mob attacked the police station and they burned down the police station, right? Like, I don't think like these cops are paid enough to risk their lives. Like they're like, okay, we're gonna arrest this guy, but the mob's like, no, we'll take care of it. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, just be like 5 or 6 cops standing between a man in charge of blasphemy and this entire mob? Like, no, I want to go home today to my wives and kids. Thank you very much. Here, mob, have at it. You know what I mean? They're not gonna. Why would they sacrifice their lives for something like, you know? I don't know. I think like it's not. I wouldn't expect the police in Pakistan to do much more than what they're already doing, right? I don't know.
I think it really speaks to how the rule of law and order has deteriorated to such an extent in Pakistan, because there have been more than 100 arrests because of this incident. Like, that is one thing about this that we should mention. So they are taking people again. They are taking action on people, and there are the expectation that there will be more arrests based on video footage.
Yeah, but didn't they let them go last time they made arrests like this? After just a while, they're not going to hold 100, you know.
Well, not going to be usually enough. People are arrested and there are charges brought against them, and then maybe you'll get bail, maybe you won't. It depends. I don't know what case you're referring to specifically. But
I just know that these people go on.
No, you go first.
No, I just said like the punishment is like so insignificant, okay? And the honor that these people think that they could now signal to the world for participating in something like this is so much more worthy to them than the small cost that they have to pay for the short time that they have to spend behind bars. In fact, a lot of them will see spending time behind bars for taking an action like this as a badge of honor. Like this is like, going to prison in other countries is beyond just like, oh, your freedoms went away for a while. You are now somebody who went to prison, and you're going to be your standing in society has been damaged forever in other countries. You know what I mean? Like you went to jail. Okay, so that's a cost that people have to have with them for the rest of their life, like in other countries, right? Like you're a criminal. Okay, but in here, like this doesn't have that effect. Going to jail for something like this, you come out, be like, yeah, bitches, I went to jail for this. Like, look how honorable I am. For the honor of my prophet, I actually paid a higher cost than the rest of you. Like, I went to jail for doing something so noble. You know what I mean? Like, say they will come out like happier than before. They will come out with pride. Like, so it's not like these punishments doesn't really work on a lot of them. So yeah, but go on. What were you gonna say?
What I thought was interesting. So I was reading this piece about this incident in Gandhara, which is the Afghan and Pakistani version of Radio Free Europe. So I really like their reporting. And they were saying, wait, who is this quoting? So Tahir Ashrafi, an Islamic cleric and Imran Khan's advisor, maintains that Pakistanis are united against mob lynchings. Quote, all the Muslim scholars agree that a mob shouldn't have punished him. We have laws, and people are punished for violating them, he added, alluding to Pakistan's laws that state blasphemy is a crime punishable by death. What they did has brought notoriety to Islam in Pakistan, he told Radio Free Europe's Radio Mashal. Asrafi said the government is launching a massive awareness campaign against vigilante attacks. He added that Islamabad, the capital, would push to turn a code of conduct unanimously adopted by various Islamist political parties and sects in 2018 into law. Quote, we are forming committees at all federal and provincial administrative levels to promote tolerance and interfaith harmony, he said. The aim will be to resolve problems locally. But independent observers and human rights campaigners are not convinced. They point to Pakistan's failure to rein in hardline Islamist factions and repeal or reform the blasphemy laws enacted in the 1990s as part of a push to Islamize the country under a military dictatorship. Journalist Sabuk Syed reports on religious affairs in Pakistan. He says that years of campaigning to preserve the blasphemy laws by conservative clerics has created a new reality. The Islamic clergy have formed a narrative that justifies compulsory punishment for blasphemy accusations, he told Radio Mashal. In their view, the accused hanged by a court or killed by a mob are the same, he added. They preach this view from the mosque's pulpit and in religious gatherings, which encourages people to participate in such acts. So what I thought was interesting about this was this apparent push that should be coming out, this massive awareness campaign around the country that's supposed to oppose these kinds of things. So that'll be really interesting to follow and observe to see what that's like and how that actually comes forward. Especially, I'd be so curious to see what the rhetoric around a campaign of that is like, because they can't say that they, oppose the death sentence or killing for blasphemy because they that's a state law.
That's
they can't even say that politically or for fear of
that
their
would be
own
the end
safety.
of them. That would be the end of them if they come and say like blasphemy is not punishable by death. Because, okay, so here's the thing. If you are like one of these Islamists, you're going to be like, okay, government, if you don't want us to kill them, then why don't you just follow the law? Right? So they were like, oh, you shouldn't be. So here's what the mob thinks, okay? The mob thinks like, okay, the rule of law. You're like, oh, the mob shouldn't be killing blasphemers. We have the rule of law. The law says blasphemers should be killed, and you haven't killed a single blasphemer, right? So the mob is like, maybe we wouldn't be doing all of this killing if you were doing it for us, government. You're not doing your job, so you have no right and say like, but guys, you have to understand, when Pakistan government comes and says like we don't endorse this, they're not saying that we don't endorse killing people for blasphemy, because they do endorse killing people for blasphemy. They're saying that there needs to be, if we want to kill people for blasphemy, there needs to be a court, the government will do it. It shouldn't just be a mob lynching, okay? The mob will say, that argument only stands if you were doing your job and killing blasphemers. Throughout the history of this of Pakistan, not a single person has been executed for blasphemy. They have been sentenced to death. They have been on death row, but not a single one of them have been actually killed. Okay, so the mob is like, that's why we have to step in, right? And again, when they say we're going to do this and this and that, with what force? Okay, with what force? You have the police, you don't have the army. The army is a separate entity that is actually in competition with the civil government. Okay, they're more powerful than the civil government. The army actually uses these Islamist groups at sometimes against the civil government, right? So there's like a competition going on, and these mobs, these Islamists are a lot more powerful right now than a lot of the forces that the civil government has. Like, we're gonna do this and this and that. When you had the opportunity to do that a long time ago, okay, you decided not only to fight against it, you decided to fuel this because for the sake of getting elected. Now it might be too late. I don't know. I don't think if anybody could stop them would be the army, and the army is like, a lot of them are actually sympathetic to these Islamists, and the ones who aren't find them a very powerful tool when they need them. Right, so the civil government coming and saying like, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, like, how? It's like, how? You guys are like, I mean, I wouldn't even at this point, I don't even expect you to be able to, right? Like, or like if people are like, oh no, they're not doing enough. What can they do? They themselves, like, they themselves need the army to come in so that they could keep their heads on their shoulders with regards to like defending themselves against these Islamists. Anyways,
you know what I find so disturbing about this is just when there's this mob activity, there is just no recognition for any. I mean, not that any of this is okay in any form, no matter the circumstances, but there is zero consideration for any like extenuating circumstance, mainly being the fact that according to the reports that I've read, this is a man who suffered from schizophrenia for 15 years. I kind of have a hard time believing there must be things in Islam that says if a person is not aware and in control of their own faculties, we have some, other contingencies for that kind of situation. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. I feel like these actions are actually like worse than the scriptures itself. I could be wrong, but I find it a hard time believing that even according to Islamic law, this would be okay. Someone who's mentally incapacitated, like
none of this. Okay, what the mob is doing is technically not Islamic law at all. Okay, so let's just be okay. So I'm not defending Islamic law because Islamic law still allows, mandates killing of blasphemers. Okay, so this is one of those situations where Islam is indirectly responsible for something rather than directly being responsible for it. Just like honor killing is not allowed in Islam, but Islam is still, like, we have had this conversation many times. I don't want to go over it here like this. Like, yeah, like you can't, like in Islam, you're not allowed to just like without any shura or without like any like hearing or a judge or anything, you can't just like willy-nilly send a whole mob at somebody and kill them for blasphemy. That is not allowed in Islam. You need like evidence, you need a judge. But again, this is not a defense of Islam, because in Islam, at the end of the day, if you could prove, if it's proven to the judge that somebody has committed blasphemy, they should be executed. Okay, so that's already horrible. So I'm not defending Islam, but still, what this saying that this is not Islamic, I'm not saying that Islam is any better. Okay, so, but even though that technically this is not Islamic for a mob to just go kill a blasphemer, right? Islam is responsible for the mentality and the attitudes and the sensitivities and the lack of punishment responsible for all this behavior to exist. Just like in honor killing, Islam is responsible for creating honor culture. Islam is responsible for creating the attitude that you could like punish women for being sexually available, physically punish them. Islam does promote the concept of khairat, which shows like an entire man's honor is completely destroyed if the woman in the family does something inappropriate, Islam is responsible for providing much less punishment for killing women in your family than men in your family. So all of that combined does lead to honor killing being way more common in Islamic communities than other communities, even though there's nothing in Islam that says that you could kill your daughter or kill your wife or kill your sister. Okay, for like there needs to be a judge, there needs to be a court or something like that. Okay, like Islam doesn't allow that, but Islam is still responsible for it. In the same way, these mob killings, these lynchings, Islam doesn't allow it directly, but Islam is still responsible for creating an environment where these things are more common.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's bringing hadith.
Mustafa is saying, actually, you're right.
Oh.
There are provisions like this. Okay, that's what I figured. Because there is an internal logic to these things. I don't agree with, obviously, their conclusions, but I'm like, that just seems too bizarre. Yeah.
Bengali Hindu, can you write the hadith down? Because I don't know if you want to. I don't know if it's relevant for me to go and pick up and find what this hadith is saying. Like, if you want to mention a hadith, like maybe write it down here. Should I go look it up, or I don't know if this is good?
Wait, give me 30 seconds.
Okay.
I'm very curious about this. 984.
Okay, so you just say that in your head, because I'm going to read this and I'm going to respond to it, because here's one thing. Philip's saying India mobs are not much better. They beat you for eating beef. Okay, this is insane. Okay, you're completely wrong about this, Philip. Okay, yes, India has a huge mob problem, mob justice. People are getting killed for the craziest things. Okay, however, it's not even close to what's happening in Pakistan. Okay, we, as much as anti Hindutva or anti Hindu right-wing mob justice and all of these like religious nationalism that is happening in India, as much as we report on it, as much as we're against it, to suggest that it's the same level of what's happening in Pakistan is ridiculous. Okay, Pakistan is at an entire other level. It's not even remotely close. It's not even close. Okay, so that doesn't mean that we don't complain about things in India. There's a lot of things to complain about in India. Okay, but Pakistan is way worse. Like, than India could. Than India, I think, could ever be. Okay. Oh, here.
This hadith that Bengali Hindu put in the chat, I think, is more about apostasy than blasphemy. Ali narrated, "No doubt I heard Allah's apostle saying, quote, during the last days there will appear some young foolish people who will say the best words, but their faith will not go beyond their throats, i.e. they will have no faith, and it will go out and leave their religion as an arrow goes out of the game. So wherever you find them, kill them, for whoever kills them shall be rewarded on the day of resurrection." Yeah, it's more about apostasy.
Is this a Sahih hadith, or is this just like how Sahih is it?
I mean, it's Bukhari.
It's Bukhari? Oh wait, you're right, it's Bukhari. Wait, so what does the hadith say? Saying, "Unless carry out the legal punishments on relatives and strangers, and do not let the fear of blame stop you from carrying out the command of Allah." Yeah, but who? How? Like, it's like obviously there needs to be a punishment. According to Islam, they say there needs to be a punishment, but it doesn't talk about the methodology. Okay, there are some riwayat of Muhammad being happy with people who just went and killed somebody who insulted him. Okay, but those authentic hadiths, or that's just like one of the riwayats, right? Like, so I don't know how authentic that is. And Muslims could argue that we already have very specific Sharia for how these punishments need to be happening. You can't just compare it to what Muhammad expected from his Sahaba when he was living, right? So maybe say that would if Muhammad was here, maybe like if he was commanding something like that, then that would be a different situation. Like maybe if the Mahdi is here, but like right now when we don't have any prophet or any imam here with us, there needs to be like a qazi, there needs to be like a judge. I don't know. That's my understanding, that there's this process to it. Again, I'm not defending any of this. This is already horrible. Anyways, we could, if I'm if I'm wrong about this.
No.
I'm happy to change my stance on this if I'm wrong about this. My understanding is that you need a judge. Again, this is not an endorsement of Islam. Okay, I hope people
Oh,
don't.
of course
think
not.
Yeah. Okay.
We can clap for this next news.
We can.
Yes. I just
Oh, thank
realized how much
goodness.
of a roller coaster I'm taking you on this week because the one after
Yeah.
that is no good.
No. Okay. Yeah. What are you doing to us? All right. Next news.
Next news. Arizona priest discovers he messed up baptism for 20 plus years. In an evolving scandal on February 1st, a Catholic priest, Reverend Andres Arango of Arizona, resigned after discovering that the baptisms he had administered for over 20 years were considered invalid. Arango had been using the phrase, "we baptize you," in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, instead of "I baptize you," during the baptism rites he performed. Katie Burke, a spokesperson for the Catholic Diocese of Phoenix, Arizona, explained that the baptism is invalid because of this single incorrect word. According to the diocese, an invalid baptism also invalidates all ensuing sacraments, including confirmation and marriage. In June 2020, the Congregation for the Doctrine of Faith of the Vatican issued a doctrinal note prohibiting anyone, quote, even if he be a priest, may add, remove, or change anything in the liturgy on his own authority. Arango's mistakes were brought to the diocese's attention after a layperson who was aware of this doctrinal note noticed the error in his performance of a baptism. Arango remains an ordained priest in good standing, but has vowed to help everyone affected by his mistake.
Okay, read this comment. This is a
Forever
good comment.
Stormy is saying, of all the scandals, the church decided to pursue this.
Yes. And also
Well,
the-
to be fair, that was me editorializing a little bit on the scandalousness of it. Secular Rarity saying, I mean, if you're going to do a magic spell, you got to say the words right.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like saying, like, I don't know, instead of saying what do you say? Abracadabra? You say Shazam or something. So you said the wrong spell word, and you're like, yeah. It doesn't work if you don't say the spell right. But what does this mean? Does that mean like all these babies? Like, how many babies have not been properly baptized because of this?
Possibly thousands across multiple countries. He used to be a priest in Brazil. Any
of them died since then?
Presumably. Some of them have, probably.
So if you're a Catholic, you believe in a religion that these babies are now burning in hell because the guy said the wrong word? Like, is that how it works?
Okay, so nowadays the church has like all of these things that they use to get around that because they realized how awful, cruel, and inhuman and how much bad marketing that is. So there was already the issue of purgatory for a really long time. And then they said, oh, these unbaptized babies, they aren't actually in purgatory. All of a sudden now they're in heaven. Like just undoing hundreds of years of teachings, people excruciating over these lost children burning through no fault of their own. Anyways, so what they will likely bring forward to try to, cover up how this isn't such a bad thing, or this policy and this very strict doctrine isn't, such a bad reflection of the Catholic teaching, is they'll say, oh, well, there's such a thing as the baptism by desire. And
how this is a new thing in some churches for how long?
What part of it?
This whole new thing that babies are not going to go to hell because they haven't been baptized. This is a new
purgatory thing. The purgatory thing. I don't know I don't remember off the top of my head.
Okay, so we're missing the point. So what I'm saying is like for so many years, the Catholic Church have said like you can't enter the heaven and the kingdom of God unless you've been baptized the proper way. Okay. So now all of a sudden they're like, okay, this sounds evil. We sound evil, okay? And now they're changing it. At what point as a Catholic are you going to realize that none of this stuff is real, that they're just making it up as they go, and the rest of us who have higher moral standard are just dragging this, like forcing these other institutions to just be like, okay, like they're submitting to our superior moral standards. Like, do you not see what's happening here? Okay, like you have a God who cares about whether or not the magic man that is holding your baby is saying I instead of we, or we instead of I, to whether or not your baby is a proper Christian or not. Like, do you not realize how insane all of you are? Okay, if you're a Catholic, you're insane. Okay, what I mean, if any other religion, like, how do you not see? Like, wait, so all the people like that he married are not technically married as well?
Not within the Catholic Church.
Okay, so basically all these people were sinning, having sex with each other. They were committing adultery this entire time without knowing it. Do they need to be forgiven for that sin?
Dude, it's so crazy. Like these technicalities are crazy. I had a friend of mine posting on Facebook about this, saying, I can't believe there is a right way and a wrong way to get baptized over something this minute and minuscule. And as the ex-Catholic, I'm like, no, you don't understand. According to Catholic law, there certainly is a right way and a wrong way.
Where in the Bible is this, by the way? Like, imagine believing in a God that is like so like, they're like, what are they doing in heaven? Like, are these like contract? These are like smart contracts, okay? Because you can't like even have yeah, like, because even in legal, like even in human law, if you have a mistype or something, they'll be like, oh, this was a mistype, and you fix it, right? You only have to have like, is this like solidity or something? Is this like a smart contract where you just get the code wrong and the whole thing doesn't go through? Like we can't do anything. You just didn't code this properly. You know, what are you talking? Like, you can't fix it. Like, like, what kind of God is that? Like, what kind of bureaucracy is God running up in heaven, where all of a sudden things are not working just because the right words haven't been said? Like, this is insane.
So I just looked it up. This is freaking crazy. When I was referring to purgatory, I meant this whole concept of limbo that was preached in the Catholic Church, and it was never like a real part, like an official part of church doctrine, but it was taught to Catholics well into the 20th century. And this was finally put to rest in 2007. 2007. I thought this was like 20th century stuff. No, this is crazy.
So what happens to this priest now?
Well, so he resigned willingly. He, like I said, is still a priest in good standing. He hasn't been defrocked, disrobed. But, you know, he resigned, and then he's dedicating his time to tracking down everyone whose baptism he screwed up and righting this mistake. So the whole idea is that, oh, well, if they died within, you know, without giving their proper, you know, correct, validated baptism, well, they'll still go to heaven because they had the desire to be baptized. And some, they even extend this to the point of people who never even, they were saying people who like were maybe like quote unquote pagans. They're saying, well, if they had known about the possibility of baptism, they would have wanted to do it, but they never got that opportunity. So
is this official doctrine of the Vatican? Is this new official doctrine of the Vatican?
This is fairly recent. And then there's lots of really hardline Catholics who are completely opposed.
So imagine what the argument is. Like the infallible Pope and the Vatican had this wrong this entire time. Like, are you admitting that you're not a source of morality then, when the world changes and you adapt to it? Like, then how do you claim that you are the source of morality when the world is ahead of you and you adjust to it? You're not the source of shit. Okay? You don't need you. You're irrelevant. We're telling you what's moral, and you're forced to accept it. You're irrelevant. Why are people paying you to hide priests? Apparently, yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, D is saying, we joke about this, but this is devastating to some believers. Oh, you're so right, D. Like, this is like just world shattering to a lot of people. Like, what are you saying? I have to redo my confirmation? I have to redo my entire catechism? Are you kidding me?
No, that's not
When
just the reason. Also, the fact that they're not technically Catholic, like Christian or Catholic for a while. Like they were like, you've been pretending to be Catholics for a whole while. You were one of us this entire time.
Takia, no.
Oh my god. Okay. Should we? Oh no, not clap for the next news. Nope.
No.
Okay. Next news.
Next news. Pakistani court acquits man who honor killed his own sister. Pakistani citizens expressed their shock and dismay on social media in reaction to the recent news that the killer of a beloved social media star may soon be released from prison. Mohammed Wasim, a Pakistani man, murdered his sister, Kandil Baluch, in 2016, resulting in him being sentenced to life in prison. Kandil is known as the Kim Kardashian of Pakistan, as she lived by her own terms and stood against patriarchal norms in Pakistan. Wasim said he murdered his sister because of her quote-unquote intolerable behavior and the dishonor she had brought to the family. Recently, Wasim's parents appealed to Pakistan's court for his release. Pakistan's Islamic laws allow pardon for a convicted murderer if the victim's family forgives the perpetrator. Women's rights advocates and activists in Pakistan are distraught over the impending acquittal. In the same year as the murder, Pakistani lawmakers passed a law intended to close the loophole that allows perpetrators to bypass penalties. The court, however, pointed out that the anti-honor killing laws were passed months after Baluch's murder and therefore cannot be retroactively applied to her case. Wasim's expected release date has not yet been made public.
What a stupid law that was. Imagine if your family doesn't like you. That means that anybody, like people could come just kill you, and then then your family forgives them, and they're gonna go free. This is why, like, murderers shouldn't just
standards of this in Iran.
Yeah, but that's insane. Oh yeah, that's a concept of qisas or stuff. No, but there should be two. Like, it's not just a crime towards the family. It's also a crime towards the guy who's dead. Like, how are you gonna get the forgiveness from the dead person? Like, oh, my family was gonna forgive you. Or like, okay, what about the victim, the main victim? The family is a victim, but the main victim is a person who's incapable of forgiving because he's dead or she's dead. Like I don't know. Like, I think this is like religious mentality is that humans are like, who's the owner? It's always like, where's the owner? Like, who the person who was wronged was the people who own this, and as long as they forgive you, you're good. Like, in civilized countries, a murder or theft or something is just a crime against order, against the state, against, like, regardless of separate.
Yes, the state will prosecute you. It'll be the people of California versus your ass.
Yeah, it's not just a civil issue that somebody needs to forgive you. You have committed a crime. There's nobody like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people were bringing up. And so partially in reaction to her murder, these like anti-honor killing laws were brought forth. So, it's horrible that she had to pay this price for that sort of legislation to, come forth. But that is good that now this kind of loophole has been closed in the law, which is fantastic. But unfortunately, yes, it is correct. You legally cannot retroactively apply that to his case. And so he's able to walk scot-free because, her family said, we still miss her very much. We're really sad about the fact that she's no longer with us, but we're excited. Like, we're happy for our son to come home.
Wait, oh yeah, because yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. So if this law, according to the previous law, if you're killing your own sister, like, the people who have to forgive you are your own mother and father.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're gonna forgive you. They're your parents. At some point, they're gonna forgive you. Jesus. So basically, your sisters, the way the law was, every sister was like potential, like it's just like every brother could just basically eliminate the sister and just hope for the parents for their sympathy towards their own son to at some point take place and you go free. How long did
Which
this
is
guy
very
go
standard.
for? Yeah. So he went to prison in 2016?
Yes, he confessed to her murder.
So he just went to jail for 6 years only for killing for killing his own sister.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, given how honor matters, I think he's going to think like that was such a small price to pay.
He has never once expressed an ounce of remorse for doing this. He actually sedated, he put sedatives in his family's food so that they would be passed out while he strangled her.
I know he thinks like, wow, I didn't even pray. Like I cleansed our family. I restored honor. I'm an honorable man. I have Beira and everything. And I only went to 6 years in jail for like, amazing. Unbelievable. 6 years only.
So I was watching
killing your own sister.
The Guardian put out a really good 30-minute documentary about Kandil that I would really encourage people to go watch, because it talks about how, she's kind of, this catchphrase is she's the Kim Kardashian of Pakistan, because she would have very sexually provocative content, and very boldly so, and unabashedly so. And this would get her a lot of attention and a lot of controversy, in the same way that Kim Kardashian's, break the internet picture, gets a huge reaction. But what's different is that she wasn't from a very rich, wealthy family. She was from a very working class family. And she had to escape an extremely abusive marriage. And after she did that, she went to the big city and then found this acclaim. And she really was pushing the boundaries nationally on this conversation about how women are supposed to act. And the way that she was doing it was in many ways just being boldly sensual, publicly so. Was in many ways a political act, because it's seen as she should be constantly berated on national television about how she is a dishonor to Pakistan as a nation. She's seen as representing the nation and is shameful to the nation and the state and Muslim women in general. And she was breaking so many barriers and pushing so many taboos. But what really seemed to push things over the edge was there was an incident where she was on TV and she debated a Muslim cleric. And then this got a really big reaction and the audience really liked it. So this Muslim cleric pushed really hard to go meet with her. And so she took photos and posted about how this cleric met with her, this woman in Western clothing, in jeans and a tight blouse, alone in a hotel room, and even was taking photos of her wearing his mufti hat and posted them. And this got huge backlash. But what's interesting is that she was trying to say, I have always been open about who I am. I'm a woman who's very, like I said, bold about my sexuality. There's no hypocrisy there. But what's the hypocrisy of this cleric to show up, alone with me and be acting this way? And I'm the one who's getting threatened with death because I come forward and say this, when I'm the one I've been consistent. And because of this incident with the cleric, it pushed her spotlight and the pressure on her to a completely new level. And the pressures were just insane and too much. And so she tried to go home. And when she went home, that's when her brother did this to her. And he said it was partially because that the media was coming to their house to bother them about this issue with the cleric. And this cleric was in fact arrested for connection to her murder, although he was released because they couldn't find any evidence about his involvement.
Wow, sounds like she was like a national hero. Like
she was really beloved. She had a lot of attention on her. At one time, her Facebook page was banned because her name Baluch was bringing dishonor to the nation of Baluch, the Baluchi people, because her real name isn't actually Kandil Baluch. It's actually it was Fawzia Wasim. And so that became a huge issue as well. This whole Baluchi angle, and people. That's partially why when I saw this news come out, I saw people all over social media, Pakistani social media stars, expressing their outrage over this. They couldn't believe it. They were really hurt and dismayed that this was allowed to happen, because this happened to someone so public. And the message that this sent to other people who are trying to express themselves online and be more free than they can be in the public space, doing so online. If this could happen to Kandil, imagine what could happen to me. Someone who had as big of a spotlight as her was taken out like this, and then this happens through the justice system. What would happen to me? So they were also talking about the chilling effect that this has on Pakistani society, and how the presence she had and how far she pushed things is missed so much.
Yeah.
He is saying, I see so many secular and reasonable Pakistanis on social media. I wish they were better represented in their country. Yes, definitely. In my experience, many of them are people who had to leave because to be able to be more free and express themselves, they have to leave. But the benefit is that because they have that safety, they're able to reach back into their country and try to talk about these issues and push the conversation further. But it's a high price that many people have to pay.
All right. Can we clap for the next news? By the way, before you say that, guys, make sure you like the video. It helps our channel grow. So please, please, please make sure you like the video right now if you haven't already. Okay. Thank you. Can we clap for the next news? No.
Well, actually, it's not too bad. It's not too bad.
We could clap without enthusiasm.
Yes, it's actually. I'm putting a more humorous spin on it.
Okay. So say next news.
Next news: hardline Hindu gangs harass couples on Valentine's Day. For years, hardline Hindu gangs have become infamous in India for patrolling the streets and assaulting and harassing couples seen on Valentine's Day, sometimes even forcing them to get married. This year was no exception. On February 14th, group members of Bajrang Dal were booked for allegedly harassing couples in public places. Sudhir Kumar Singh, a police officer from Agra's police department, said that a first information report was filed against the members for harassment. According to the local news, the group was against Valentine's Day separations and stopped couples from observing it. Avtar Singh Gill, a member of Bajrang Dal, said, quote, "This is a Western culture which is flourishing in India, but it will not be allowed to flourish here." Another member of Bajrang Dal claimed that Valentine's Day is, quote unquote, forcibly imposed on India by multinational companies. The group demanded that the Telangana state government declare February 14th as Amar Jawan Divas, or Our Soldier Day, referring to India's 1971 victory against Pakistan during the Indo-Pakistan War. So I wanted to cover this because in our thumbnail, you see we have a picture of, there were also burning effigies of Saint Valentine.
They're burning Valentines? And they have
burning Saint Valentine himself, man.
Oh my god.
What
did he do?
He's the originator of this Western depravity.
He didn't start Valentine's Day. Okay,
Hindutva won't give us a breather even for 1 week. Come on, guys. Be civil for 1 week. Not that hard. Well, I wanted to cover this because I was actually oh, wait. We have a puppy. We need to pause and appreciate the puppy. Stop everything.
That's okay.
She's still wearing her dress?
Yes. No, yeah. I don't put the dress on.
I think you do.
I don't. She doesn't mind it.
Oh my god, what a cute baby.
Hi. All right. Take it back to me.
Oh my goodness. Oops. Here we go. Blank name is saying, this is a long way of saying that I don't get laid.
True.
So Mustafa is saying there's a great Bollywood movie in the story. It just needs a little Hindutva member finding love and a musical number at the end. Honestly, you're not wrong. So what I found interesting about this is the fact, and what I wanted to highlight is I saw a number of news stories, not just talking about the fact that there are gang members doing this kind of activity in India, but they're being arrested and they're being booked for their activities. And there was a lot of reports about measures that police were taking preemptively against these people. So I would like to congratulate that. That's awesome. I also wanted to talk about this because a lot of aspects of this kind of story that happens every year really, it blows my mind. So I was talking to a friend in India and she says, oh yeah, when it's Valentine's Day, if you're a woman, you don't go out. You don't go out. And even if you're going out like with a male friend who's not even a couple, you do, by under no circumstances, you do not go out with another man, period, on Valentine's Day that's asking for trouble.
Amazing.
And I thought this is absolutely insane. I'm like, how is Bajrang Dal not declared a terrorist organization or a criminal organized gang that every year you expect and anticipate that you cannot go out in public because of the activity of these people, because that's how predictable it is? Where is your right to free assembly? Where is your freedom of movement? If this is the case and this is so predictable that you know that this is going to happen year after year, that's completely unacceptable to me.
Well, I don't think this would be assembly, but yeah, freedom to move freely and just have fun.
Well, no, they go after couples in parks. They go after couples in particular romantic spots.
Right. I mean, this is just, we need to highlight more of these because they're doing a very good job in making sure that the world realizes that Hinduism is not this whole exotic, peaceful religion, unlike the other Abrahamic ones. You know what I mean? Like they're perfect for highlighting how insane all of this is, right? Like how bad India has become. We need to like raise the alarm, right? Like to globally and embarrass them for this. I mean, this is this is Sharia. This is Hindu Sharia. And
apparently
again,
go ahead.
Yeah, go on. No, and again, like
it's a lot worse in some areas than others. Like I've heard that it's bad in Rajasthan.
Wouldn't it be the worst in? Is it really bad in Uttar Pradesh? I would assume that there would be the worst.
It happens all over. I don't know where it's the worst.
Yeah. But again, like imagine being one of these people, couples trying to have fun, enjoying their lives and being romantic with each other, and you're against that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, again, like we should have the meme ready. Like, are we the baddies meme? We don't have
Yes, where is it? I was counting on you.
We should have had that.
Oh, wait,
ready.
Dee is correcting me. She's saying, Susanna, they're not aware of Saint Valentine. They were just burning Valentine. I researched this.
Oh, so that's just Valentine. Okay, so they don't know Saint Valentine. That's just the face of Valentine.
Yeah, and they were like burning Valentine's Day cards.
Okay. Amazing.
Yeah, so another member of Bajrang Dal claimed that Valentine's Day is forcibly imposed on India by multinational companies. These companies want people to celebrate a Western culture so they can make money on greeting cards and private album songs, he explained. I love this. Forcibly imposed by multinational companies.
But
how?
But how is it imposed? Like, you guys don't celebrate Valentine's Day.
By what authority?
No, like, how is it forced? Like, did anybody come to any of you guys and told you that you have to? I mean, this coming from I mean, I don't know if all of them, but prearranged marriage is like kind of forced romance, or it's like forcing people to be together? Like, do you expect like people who celebrate Valentine's Day to like find you a date and make you like buy her roses and go on like a Valentine's date with them? Is it like, man, like you have to buy cards for each other? Where's the chocolate? Where are the roses? Like, how is this forced upon you? You don't have to do it. None of you have to do it. Imagine if there was a penalty by these powerful organizations. They're like, yeah, we're gonna fine everybody who doesn't celebrate Valentine's Day. What is, these people are insane. By these people, I mean specifically these people who are doing this. Okay, I'm not talking about all of India or all of Hinduism. Please don't think I'm being racist or anything like that. Okay. Also, like, wouldn't this be the same, similar to Western countries celebrating Diwali? Right? Like, wouldn't, like, how is like
Day.
like if in the United States or in Canada there's a lot of celebrations of Diwali, nobody is insane enough to claim that this is forced upon us by, I don't know, Indian organizations. Like how is it that we get to celebrate Diwali in Canada, and that's a-okay, and celebrating Christmas or Valentine's Day in India all of a sudden becomes this conspiracy or is forced upon you? Like, people in Canada who don't want to celebrate Diwali, they don't, and people in India who don't want to celebrate Valentine's Day, they won't. But the difference is that not that many people in Canada are butthurt over Diwali.
Only like xenophobes.
Yeah, but their percentage is a lot lower. Like, where are the mob? Show me the mobs in United States or Canada or in Europe who are like going after and intimidating people who are celebrating Diwali. Like, show me that. That doesn't happen. Okay.
If it did happen, there would be huge backlash against it, because people wouldn't tolerate, especially in Canada, that kind of open targeting of minorities and xenophobia. That's what I was thinking about today. I was thinking about how, like, at least where in my environment, people love Holi. They love the Holi festival and celebration. It's so much fun. People get so excited about it, and they love having this other celebration in their life is part of something they do every year. It enriches their life to have the celebration from another culture. It is represents something very different than in other things in our culture. And it's seen as something that people appreciate and love so much, instead of seeing it as an attack on our culture, unless you're like an ultra nationalist or something, which is like way more rare. We see it as something that is a celebration of how awesome our community is, that we have this, that in our proximity, that we can celebrate it together. It's seen as such an addition instead of taking away and attacking.
Yeah, cultures are supposed to mix with each other. Like, oh, ew, Western culture. Enjoy it. You enjoy it if you like. Don't enjoy it if you don't like. Like, you can't tell other people what to enjoy. Okay, I personally prefer it if cultures just constantly mix and match with each other. It's beautiful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Huh? Yeah, we owe California rules for that, right? Like, we took Japanese. We took Japanese food and we made it better.
I hate California rolls. How dare you?
It's
Love Jihad Day.
I think we should have a Love Jihad Day. I think we should take this conspiracy and turn it into, let's make it a day. Let's come up with a day and call it Love Jihad Day. And it would be a day where any two people, maybe not in India, because I don't want people to risk their lives for that, okay? But sure. I think we should have a international Love Jihad Day, and it would be a day where two people of two different backgrounds, buy gifts from each other, roses, card, or something, right? Or any couple that comes from two different backgrounds comes and say, like, if they want, openly be like, oh yes, happy Love Jihad Day to each other, right? So it would be a day of celebrating couples or any, fun and cute, like harmless flirtation between two people who are of different ethnicities or background religions or even current religions, and come like, oh, happy Love Jihad Day to us because we have different backgrounds. Wouldn't that be beautiful? We should make that a day to celebrate mixing of ethnicities and cultures with each other. We turn it on. We turn something that was supposed to be a negative, and we make it a positive. We celebrate people coming of different parts of the world coming together.
I think one thing
that would
I
be a
was
great
thinking,
project.
I love the idea of this. Is it's a very different dynamic for us to say, well, like, oh, well, in our community, when we have celebrations from other cultures, it's seen as such a contribution to our quality of life and our like cultural vibrancy. But I was just thinking today about how it's a very different and contentious issue when you're in a post-colonial society, and India as a nation is still grappling with rediscovering what it is as a civilization after the rule of the British. And so Western influence has a completely different historical weight to it than just, oh, this is something that's fun to enjoy, whether like no matter where it comes from, which is kind of what I think I get to enjoy here. It's like, oh, well, it doesn't matter where it comes from that much to me. Like, this is something that, is a beautiful culture that I just get to participate in. I think it's harder. It's more difficult to really grapple with that contention of post-colonial identity. I don't know what like a solution to that kind of thing is, because it also comes from a sense of like deep insecurity. Like, this is threatening our Indian civilizational identity to have this kind of influence, which I think is a deeply insecure position to take, because the culture of the subcontinent is a cultural powerhouse across the globe. You can't tell me that the heritage and legacy of the civilization that now has over 1 billion people is under threat in the same way as it, this isn't going anywhere. This isn't going anywhere. Right. I find it very interesting.
Can you highlight the 4 super chats that we have?
Well, it's not super chats.
No, sorry, star. Oh yeah, we don't have super chats. We're not monetized.
Forever Stormy is saying, if there was a festival of love in Hinduism, they wouldn't stop bragging about how amazing Hinduism is. I mean, why shouldn't? I mean, if this actually was a dope festival, they should brag about it. That sounds fun. Yeah. Like bragging about Holi or Diwali.
No,
like,
but
sounds fun.
no, I mean, her point is like, if it's from somewhere else, they wouldn't see the value in it. Like, they're just obsessed with things have to be like, it has to be from the subcontinent, or else it's like a foreign cultural invasion or something like that. Yeah. All right.
Squirrely Coney is saying Valentine's Day equals capitalism plus commercialism.
Well, those are 2 good things, so that makes it even better, I guess. Like, I don't know, I mean, regulated capitalism is a good thing, and I don't know what you're saying plus commercialism. Commercialism is part of capitalism, so I don't know why you had to add that on top of it as if it's separate. But commercialism is not necessarily a bad thing. If you have a problem with commercialism, that means you as an individual have failed to control your urges. So that's a you problem rather than a commercialism problem. Okay, so maybe like you fix yourself, because commercialism as a whole is a concept of commercializing things that are in demand and people want to buy it from the fruits of their labor. So I don't see what the problem with that is. Okay, so if you have a problem with that, maybe fix yourself. But yeah, what's the next comment?
Malik, who is a Pakistani in our chat, is saying, damn, I'm not even eligible for Love Jihad Day. Me, hand are some of the same ethnicity? I don't get it.
It's saying my hand and myself.
You're like,
Or just-
damn,
All
that's
right.
hilarious.
This one you highlighted earlier, but you forgot to read it.
Oh
We should
yeah,
read it
this
to
is
the
just
next one.
fun. Benjamin is saying, "Hi, I'm Benjamin. I'm watching this from Ghana, Africa. I'm proud atheist, and I must admit it's not easy being an atheist in these kinds of environments." Well, thank you for joining us. You know, shouts out to Ghana, and I hope that you can find some community here at Atheist Republic if you can't find it, you know, close to you. And holy crap, it's that time. Boom. Bust down the doors. Harass Sultan is here.
Yes. Hi, Aris.
He's here.
All right, music guy, and hi, yeah, guys, make sure you're subscribed to Harris Sultan channel. Okay, if you guys are interested in anything India or Pakistan or Islam or dinosaur related, you should be subscribed to Harris Sultan's channel. Okay, music guy is saying life would be boring without made up holidays. I don't like the idea of like calling things made up as if like it makes them okay, like made up holidays as opposed to what? Like, do we have holidays that just naturally part of nature? Like,
It's
obviously
part of the
every-
fabric of the universe to
Of the
observe my
universe,
birthday. I don't
exactly.
know what you're talking about, Armin. The world stops when I was born. And we need to remember it.
Mm.
What did you
All
think
right,
about my thoughts about the way that these sorts of things are treated so insecurely in the face of
Yeah, it's basically what you were describing was the best way of like talking about the inferiority complex, right? Like how insecure do you have to be that you think you're like your culture, which is like has survived for thousands of years and is like one of the most dominant cultures on the planet, is under threat. Like how insignificant do you think all of this is? Like it's inferiority complex. That's what all it is. Like you're
Yeah.
intimidated by the popularity of something of another culture. Yeah. Anyways, do we clap for the next news?
I mean, no one died.
Okay,
it has
clap
the
for
big
that
H in it.
enthusiasm.
So should we just say it even though it's the big H?
Let's say it. YouTube, like, what are you gonna do? Okay,
Yeah,
let's
I
just
know,
say
we're
the
already
big H.
screwed.
We're already screwed. Okay.
Okay.
All right, next news.
Next news. Indonesian Muslim groups demand that Holocaust exhibition be closed. On January 27th, the exhibit titled Shoah, How Is It Humanly Possible?
Wow. Wait.
launched-
Wow. I just did you. That's so. I don't know what this news is about, but that is so bold. Are you serious? Like what? But wow, the audacity. But go on. Okay, go on. Sorry, I had to interrupt that.
Okay. On January 27th, the exhibit titled Shoah, How Is It Humanly Possible? Was launched at the Holocaust Museum in Indonesia's North Sulawesi province. Since the opening, the exhibition has been causing an outcry from conservative Muslims and Islamic scholar groups. Sudarnoto Abdul Hakim, head of Foreign Relations and International Cooperation of the country's Indonesian Ulama Council, demanded that the exhibition and museum be closed. Many Muslims and religious groups fear that the museum is an initiation or indication of the Indonesian government's plan to strengthen and normalize diplomatic ties with Israel. The exhibit is hosted by Shar Ha-Shamayan, Indonesia's lone synagogue. Yaakov Baruch, rabbi of Shar Ha-Shamayan, said he built the museum to educate Indonesians on the dangers of anti-Semitism and hate crimes.
How big of a tell this is when they when they say we're anti-Israel, we're not anti-Jewish, we're not anti-Semitic, okay? How telling this is when they're like a Holocaust exhibition, they see it as a way of promoting Israel. Like if this is not an indication that a lot of these people are not just anti-Israel and they see anti-Jewish with anti-Israel, for them goes hand in hand. Like, is not the biggest tell on themselves? That if you are warning people if you are talking to people about history and the crimes that were committed against the Jewish people, they see that as pro-Israel, right? So just remember this next time they say that, oh, we're just against Israeli policies and foreign policies. We're not against Jewish people. They are saying that the promotion of awareness of the crimes that happened during the Holocaust, they see it as a pro-Israeli stance. Like, by the way, guys, again, reminder to everybody that this is Indonesia. It's supposed to be the most moderate, liberal, advanced, progressive Islamic countries. One of them, like this, Malaysia and Tunisia, are the examples that we're all constantly are given. Okay, guys, where in the goddamn planet would this be tolerated? A Holocaust, like, imagine, like, anywhere else on the planet that is not Islamic, somebody comes and suggests, like, let's shut down this Holocaust museum. Imagine the reactions. Imagine the backlash. Okay, but again, this is a Islamic country, so standards are different and expectations are different. But go on.
So this was supposed to be, or at the moment is, the country's only permanent Holocaust, like, memorial or exhibit. It's supposed to be permanent, and this is the only one so far. There's only one synagogue in all of Indonesia, and there are only roughly 100 Jews in Indonesia. And what's interesting is Indonesia only recognizes 5 religions. It's like Buddhism, Catholicism, Protestantism, Hinduism, and Islam. So if you're a Jew, you are forced to identify on your documentation as one of the other religions, because Judaism isn't even recognized as a religion by the state. So if they said if you live like in a Muslim area, you'll just like mark as a Muslim in your documentation. Or a lot of them have moved to Christian areas to avoid persecution, so they're listed as Christians. A professor of world religions at the University of Notre Dame said Indonesians do not always distinguish between Jews and Israelis, Siri said. They also do not distinguish between the foreign policy of the state and the people of Israel. That is a problem.
See, this is, oh my God, like, I didn't even, guys, I haven't even read this article. This is exactly what my conclusion from this. Who said that? Who said that?
A professor
that guy?
at Notre Dame.
Guys, I'm not even a professor, okay? See, my conclusions of my interpretation of what's just happening, like, see, like, I don't even need a degree in any, and I have the same, this is why you have to like this video, okay? Because you come here and I have the same conclusions as a professor without any of the background degrees or anything like that. So, yeah. Patrons, this is what you're getting, this is what you're paying us for, okay? This is what
I find very interesting is that, so there is a lot of fear right now or about Indonesia normalizing ties with Israel right now, because apparently there were some comments by Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Here we go. The demand to shutter the exhibit arises amid circulating rumors of increased diplomatic relations between Indonesia and Israel, which do not currently yet have formal ties. Last month, Israeli officials said U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken raised the possibility of normalized relations, suggesting that Indonesia might join several other Muslim nations in opening ties with Israel. The claim was later confirmed by the Indonesian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but officials have played down the reports of increased discussion. Barriers to normalized relations remain high, including fears from Indonesia's current leaders that they would lose the support of the majority Muslim public who want independence for the Palestinian people. Along those lines, this is what I thought was very interesting. There was, let me read this quote. We demand any exhibition be stopped and the museum be canceled and discontinued, said Sadur Noto Abdul Hakim, the head of the Foreign Relations and International Cooperation, with the guy who's really high up in the Ulama Council. Jewish communities and the descendants of the Jewish people everywhere, including in Indonesia and North Sulawesi, should always see clearly the brutal acts that have been perpetrated by Israeli Zionists against the Palestinian people since 1948.
What does this got to do with the Holocaust?
I'm like, do you want a side-by-side exhibition? Like, what are you asking for, dude?
They're not the same people, okay? They're not the same people. Even the people in Israel today are not responsible for anything that happens, all of the things that happened to the Palestinians, right? Like, what does it got to do with the Holocaust? Like, imagine if you, like the Christchurch shooting that happened, right? Like, this is okay. So they're like, we have to remember that Israel did this and this and this to Palestinians, okay? While we're talking about the Holocaust Museum, okay? Imagine if we had a memorial for the Christchurch shooting of the Muslims, right? Or Muslims in the mosque, and you were like, we should shut down this memorial, and we need to also or have a side by side, memorial dedicated to the crimes committed by the Islamic Empire. Imagine if I bring that up.
No, committed to Jewish ethnic cleansing from the Arab world.
Yeah. No, yeah. Imagine it was like, hey, Christchurch, what about 9/11? Huh? Like, imagine if I did that. Imagine how, by the way, I'm not saying any of that. Like, oh yeah, Christchurch Memorial. Do these people not remember what happened in 9/11? Like, imagine if I said that. Like, I hope like everybody here would be shocked if I said something like that. Okay, like they would be like, "What the hell, Armin? What's wrong with you?" That's what these people are saying. They're like, Holocaust. What about Palestinians? I'm like, okay, buddy. Okay.
The only.
Oh yeah. Sultan is saying the same thing.
Yeah. So the only like vague connection that they can make that is in any way like, I don't even want to say legitimate towards what they're saying, but it should be noted that because they're basically saying, oh well, this isn't acceptable because this shows that we're normalizing with Israel, which is just insane. But they particularly objected to the exhibit's ties to Yad Vashem, because the museum's director has ties to Israeli settlements in the West Bank. So, like,
wait, say
that's
again?
it. The museum's director has ties to Israel settlements in the West Bank, and there might be some financial contribution there.
Well, ties financially. I'm pretty sure I have ties to people in the West Bank. Who doesn't have ties to people like
Armin?
seriously.
You know what they mean. It's not the same.
No, it is the same because like it's the 6 degrees of separation. Everybody has ties to everything to some extent. Okay. Like, okay. Oh, yeah. By the way, I'm pretty sure if there's a memorial from Christchurch, okay, there will be some people who have ties to Hamas who will be contributing some money to it. Okay. So you want to shut down the memorial because of that? Anyways, I don't know how significant the ties are. I don't even know if that's a bad thing. Okay. There are Jews in Israel who want to support like things, who want to support like Holocaust memorials. The only problem, by the way, my only problem with Holocaust memorials, okay, this should not be controversial. If this is controversial, there's something wrong with you, okay? If anybody thinks this is like offensive, okay? My only issue with Holocaust museums is that it doesn't have enough dedicated exhibitions to the handicapped people who died in the Holocaust, to the LGBT community who died in the Holocaust. Again, when I say this, I'm not saying there should be less attention to all the Jewish people who died in the Holocaust. That should all be there. I'm not saying remove from that. I'm saying that the Romanis, the LGBT people, the handicaps, and yeah, all the other people who died from the Holocaust should also be remembered in Holocaust Museum, right? I don't like that. It
Romani?
Seems like I said Romani.
Oh,
I said, yeah. I don't like the fact that every single Holocaust museum seems to just be mainly Jewish themed. Like it's mainly themed through it. Like it should be mainly Jewish, but it should be at least the a ratio, at least like 2/9. Like what's the percentage? 2 out of 9. Like at least like around 30% of the museum should be dedicated, given the numbers of other victims that they had as well. Okay, so that's my only criticism. But there should be Holocaust museums. There should be more Holocaust museums. Okay, Holocaust museum. You know what? There should be. Another criticism I have for Holocaust museums is that they're not being used to highlight. Most of them are not being used to highlight current genocides, right? The point of remembering the past is to avoid things happening in the future. Okay, so for example, the nation of Israel, which is the main funder of Holocaust museums in the world, which I see it as a positive, it's also a nation that has not officially recognized the Armenian genocide. Okay, and I always want to say, like, what is the point of remembering the Holocaust? Is it just all like, oh, this bad thing happened and we're the victims? Or is the point of remembering the Holocaust to learn from history, to try to raise the alarm, to sound the alarm whenever something even remotely close is about to happen? Okay, what happens if you deny other forms of Holocaust that happen? Like, are you just being? Is it just your genocide that matters? Or are you just like, are you trying to find awareness of this so you're warning the world about the events that could lead to stuff like this happening? Like, where is Israel? Shouldn't Israel be leading the charge against China right now and the concentration camps that are happening in China right now? Like, shouldn't be the country that is leading the way against all of this? But
I know
they're not,
a lot
okay?
of Jewish organizations in the U.S. are certainly doing that.
Yes. So that's why I said not all of them. Okay, that's why I was like, when I said the Holocaust memorials aren't, but I said like a lot of them aren't, because I specifically remember that at least there's a few of them that are doing that. Okay, and kudos to those that are, okay, because that is why you have a Holocaust museum. That is why you have a Holocaust memorial, is to be the voice against those type of actions. Okay, and some people may be like, hey, Armenian genocide already happened. What are you talking about, warning about things that could happen? I'm just saying, if you're being selective, okay, if the country of Israel is not recognizing the Armenian genocide, like, how hypocritical of the Israeli government not to recognize the Armenian genocide. Like, our genocide matters more than your genocide. Like, you're not going to be you have no business acting like you are the country that is supposed to be anti-genocide because of the history that you have had, if you're only selecting the genocides that are politically convenient for you to be against. Okay, you're using it you're using it for your own interest rather than your own political interest, rather than spreading the cause of humanism and bigotry, anti-racism, anti-genocide, anti-collectivism. That's what you're supposed to be. Israel should have been the leading country in the world, given its history and what it stands for and what it's supposed to be protecting against. For Israel should have been the leading country in the world. It should have been like a country that everybody else uses as a role model. Every single human rights violation had happened anywhere else in the world, Israel should have been the first country that steps up and motivates, push against all other countries. Like, it had the history, it had the Genesis history to be able to pressure all the other countries to get in line against other countries that are in violation of human rights, right? Because it has that history. For example, a country that is like, what's that country that is almost being eliminated because of global warming, because of the rise of sea levels? Like, it's that they're losing their islands. I forgot what country that was, right? But because that country is the victim. Yeah, but there's one country that could they have a whole bunch of islands that could just completely be erased, and they're like one of, I forgot. But I think Israel also has the history and the story for other countries not to be able to ignore them. Like, given the standing that a lot of Jewish people have in many places around the world, well-deserved standing. I'm not one of those conspiracy theorists, right? They would be able to pressure a lot of governments into bending them in a direction that they would take a much more aggressive stance against any form of human rights violation. But unfortunately, Israel didn't go that route, and is not taking that position internationally. Israel's government is only interested in its own geopolitics, But yeah, that's unfortunate. Oh, Maldives. People are saying Maldives.
I would also be remiss if we didn't also talk about the positive reception of this exhibit in Indonesia. So meanwhile, there's been all this backlash, but representatives from, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, Nahdlatul Ulama, Indonesia's largest Islamic organization, and in fact, the largest organization in the world, Islamic organization in the world, has spoken out in support of the exhibition. And the local government was also supportive, according to a source familiar with the situation. So, we shouldn't paint this as something that is completely reflective of attitudes in Indonesia. There's also the largest Islamic organization in the country was in full support of it.
Thank you for that information. This is why we need you here, Susanna. We need you here. You have all this information.
Oh, shucks.
You're welcome. No, seriously, a couple of times I wanted to, when you were talking today, I was like, God damn, how does she know all of this? But I forgot to mention to you after you finished.
Guys, please like this stream, like this video, because we are saying a lot of words today that YouTube really hates, in particular the big H. They hate the big H. Please help us out. Like this stream.
By the way, what a disservice that is to remembering the Holocaust, where you can't even mention it on YouTube. Right? Like people like in an effort to make sure people don't spread conspiracy theories, YouTube has now made words sensitive to say that we can't, like the backlash. The same thing happened with LGBT people, right? Because we have a lot of transphobia and homophobia on YouTube. The words that have been used to deprioritize videos have also affected videos that are raising awareness, and bringing positive coverage of LGBT related.
Yeah, just like content. Saying gay, like
yeah.
So
but
stupid.
Yeah, for people who think like, oh, Armin, you're being so sensitive, you're not going to get a strike or anything. Yes, we're not going to get a strike. Just like repeating like swear words, right? This is why I don't swear. Okay, I love to swear. Okay, but I can't swear because YouTube.
You still swear.
We swear, but the more swear words you use, the more deprioritize your videos. This is why our channel never grows. All right. Congratulations on being anti-Semitic, YouTube.
That's what the same thing with their whole fighting homophobia thing is. Like, you were actually punishing LGBT creators because they can't even say gay. Like, you actually became homophobic in an effort to fight
homophobia.
21st century problems.
Yeah, okay, but also let's just be fair to YouTube. It's really like they don't have the manpower to like check every goddamn video and coming up with an algorithm that could detect what's right and what's not wrong. It's almost like we don't have smart enough AIs right now. So like it's too much to ask anyways. Like given the number of videos that gets uploaded on this platform, it's almost unrealistic for us to expect anything more. Unless we get competition, then we could expect more. All right, can we clap for the next news?
Yes. This is for you.
Okay. What? Okay, I don't like that. All right.
No, you suggested this news.
Yeah, but I don't like that framing. All right. This was interesting. That's why I covered it.
It is.
All right. Next news.
India's first blockchain marriage. Recently, an Indian couple got married through a blockchain wedding, marking the first digital wedding in India. The couple immortalized their vows during a smart contract, using a smart contract on the Ethereum or ETH blockchain the same day as their civil marriage in court. Anup Paki, a quote-unquote digital priest, officiated the couple's digital wedding. Paki minted the couple's non-fungible token, or NFT, that contained an image of the bride's hands wearing her engagement and wedding rings and the text of their marital vows. The couple's NFT was minted on the OpenSea platform, currently the largest NFT marketplace. Narasipuram said, the groom said, "We read out the vows, and after receiving the blessing of our digital priest, I transferred the NFT to my wife's digital wallet, similar to the groom putting the ring on his bride." The groom stated that the wedding's transaction is a, quote, permanent, immutable, and public record of our commitment to each other on the ETH blockchain.
Hey, we also had a marriage in the metaverse recently. Wasn't that is that the same thing or is that separate?
No, I think that was separate.
Okay. That's very interesting. So wait, what wallet was used? Was it the which wallet?
It started with the groom, and then he transferred it to the wallet of his wife.
Okay, but was it the
representing
MetaMask?
Putting a ring on her finger?
That's cool. Okay, let's see the contract. This transaction will be soon processed. Okay. What was the gas fee on this contract?
He said it was about
Was it-
$35.
was-
Wait, go
$35?
up. No, I want to
Was it-
read. No, show the tweet. I want to read it.
Oh, okay, sorry. Go.
So it says, by the power invested in me by Ethereum, this transaction will soon be processed. And now, by the power invested in me by Ethereum, it is my honor and delight to declare you married. Go forth and live each day to the fullest. I'm so pleased to present the newlyweds.
How did he pay such low gas fees? $35? That must be a good time to.
Oh my God. You're like, that's what you focus on?
Okay, that's very good. No, but I'm kind of a little bit disappointed because it wasn't done on the Polygon blockchain, because Ethereum is an Indian, originated in India, right? So they should. This is an Indian couple. Actually, it doesn't matter. Ethereum is more trustworthy. But anyways, this is pretty interesting. I think there's going to be a lot more blockchain marriages. What do you think?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
there's people are going to have to find a way to like make it more kind of fun. Because instead of just sitting on your laptops, like now we have to wait for it to go. Okay, now the transaction's through,
Wait, that's the same thing as a non-smart contract way of doing us. Like, do you think like so we have a wedding and everything like that, right? But if the process of creating a contract off the blockchain is also not very exciting, right? This is actually more exciting, right? Because how exciting is the documentation of your marriage and the legal work and the stamp and the signature, okay? And I'm pretty sure, like how long did that take? It took a few minutes, right? I think like if you're doing the legal work for your marriage contract, that takes longer, right? Also, this is a lot more official. Everybody can see it. It's transparent. It's immutable. Your marriage is immutable. Wait, how do you divorce then if your marriage is immutable on the blockchain?
That's what I was thinking about.
You can't undo this contract. We don't have temporary. You should, yeah.
Maybe there's something that they've organized where it's like, should they mutually decide or maybe they have a prenup, I don't know, like then she would transfer the NFT back into his wallet.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of I think this was very smart because they're the first, like these people are just now marked their names in history, right? Like the second or third person or the fourth person that does this is never going to be as significant as them, right? They have managed to. They just paid $35 only to mark for forever to be part of history. Their marriage is not part of history. They're the first blockchain marriage. That was very smart. That's very clever.
Yeah, the guy was saying that he's like, I think this is what we're going to be doing in the future.
Oh,
this
look,
is where we're moving towards.
You can see their marriage on Etherscan. Their marriage is transparent and available for everybody to view on Etherscan for eternity. That's amazing. This is cute. How does this go? Only 5 likes on Twitter. I'm not gonna like it because it's gonna take me away from this page and it's gonna take me to Twitter. I think if I like it, but it should get
do it
likes.
anyways.
This is history. Yeah, let me like this. What's gonna happen? See, I knew it. It's going to take me to Twitter.
They're going to be randomly like, oh my gosh, like this huge count just liked this out of nowhere. For some reason, this happened back a few months ago, but it just made the news cycle recently.
Oh, look, there's more pictures.
Yeah, okay, you can actually see what their NFT token looks like. See, that's the picture that is in their NFT.
Okay.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it was weird. Look, this is cute. I don't know. People think this is cringe. I think, yes, it is the MetaMask. They did it using the MetaMask wallet. Is this the MetaMask? Yes, it is. Okay, I'm going to like this. Why is this not getting more attention? This is the first blockchain marriage in the world. Why does this only have
It did get a lot of attention in the news cycle. Just not so much on Twitter. I don't know why.
Yeah. I don't know. I think this is kind of romantic. It's the first. It's unique. It's like, because it's unique, because it's the first. I think it's very clever. I'm surprised nobody did it until they decided to do that, right? By the way, guys, like India is like a major source of innovation when it comes to the blockchain right now. Okay, like India, this is if blockchain becomes as big of the internet. Okay, if anyone Indian here should be like excited about this. Okay, because we're like looking at the competition between China and India. Okay, and China decided to ban blockchain. Okay, and India decided to legalize it. Okay, so if you're Indian and you're like trying to be optimistic about the future of the world, if you're looking about future economic powers, and we're looking the main two candidates, like the main two, it seems like a lot of the world's economy is going in the future is going to be dominated by India and China, right? And if India is leaning into blockchain and China is moving away from it, this might be a major competitive advantage, because India has been historically a major source of entrepreneurship, right? It's in the tech space, right? So I'm so glad that they didn't close this door to India. Okay, this is going to provide a lot of opportunities for Indian entrepreneurs, right?
This is hilarious. Grey Jedi is saying, okay, so someone marry me on the blockchain so I can get the first blockchain divorce.
I know there's like new NFTs that are temporary. Like, I don't know, actually. I know like they're temporary. They're coming up with ways to make temporary NFTs. Oh yeah, this would be good for Muslims for Shia Muslims who want to have temporary marriages, right? So you could have you could like mint your marriages and have it set the expiry date based on exactly how long you want to be married to somebody, right? So you could do 5-day NFT marriages or 2-year, 1-year marriages and set it expire to exactly. Yeah, there are a lot of things would be possible. So yeah, this is the future, guys. Welcome to the future. What do people think about this in the live chat?
People either think that this is lame or they're like, good for them.
It's like it's a 15 minutes of fame thing. Well, yeah, what's wrong with that? They celebrated like, first of all, isn't every marriage a temporary attention to a celebration of two people coming together?
Well,
isn't every wedding like that?
They don't all make the news.
Well, yeah, theirs was bigger because of the creative way that they came up with celebrating it. But like, isn't that like all other marriages like that as well? You just like wanna, you don't like something and you just want to knock it down.
You're just a hater.
Yeah, no, other people are enjoying it. If you don't like it, you don't have to like it. So if you don't like it, then don't do it. Either they're having fun with it and they enjoy it. So what's wrong with it, right? Yeah, NFT Siras, that's exactly Qasem. We should have NFT. We should create the first NFT Sira on the blockchain.
Explain what that is for people who don't know.
Sira is like temporary marriage in Shia Islam. This is something a lot of Sunnis hate on Shias for. They basically, Sunnis will say to Shias that you guys are basically legal Islamized prostitution.
Because they did.
Yeah. Hey, you're supposed to take the Shia side. What are you doing? Why are you taking?
I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're pro sex work. All right. Talking about blockchain, should we go to the next news?
Exactly.
Did you want to add
that's
anything or highlight anything
together?
Hold on. Cool. Is there anything else you want to highlight in the comment section?
People are saying alhamdulillah for halal sex work.
All right.
Next news. Amazing success of Hindu Goddess NFT launch. Armin, take it away.
Oh no, it's just I thought you were gonna give us a summary before we go there. Yeah, so what we did was we put on the Godless Kalima on OpenSea to sell 10 NFTs of Godless Kalima on the Polygon blockchain. And I didn't know how that's gonna go. I gave it 28 days for all 10 of them to be sold out, and they all sold out within less than a week. Not even. So that's amazing. So just for people who know, this was our way of making sure that Callie gets back on Twitter and on the blockchain, so that she's undeletable and forever minted on a blockchain. So that way, because the interesting thing is that a lot of people from India, a lot of Hindutva, were trying to make sure that this doesn't make it out there, right? So this is why they send a Hindu IT cell against us. They came up with FIR against us. They made police reports against us. They even took Sexy Callie all the way to the India Supreme Court, trying to shut down social media because they considered our drawing of Hindu goddess Kalima to be blasphemous and so insensitive that they went and did everything they could to make sure it doesn't spread across the internet. Okay, and they failed, because the more the more the backlash against us was there, the more news coverage that this got, and the more Sexy Callie got into, more people were exposed to it, right? So now, but they banned me from Twitter because of this. They banned Susanna Twitter just because of this, because we didn't violate any of Twitter's community guidelines, but we got blocked. Me and Susanna lost our Twitter accounts, and a lot of other people also lost their Twitter accounts simply for posting pictures of Sexy Callie, because they took advantage of loopholes on Twitter's reporting system, and people were being banned left and right simply for posting pictures of Sexy Callie, even though this doesn't violate any rules on Twitter, simply because it's blasphemy, simply because this is a Hindu goddess, right? And this is not even an insult towards Callie. It's actually a very beautiful picture of her. So what we decided to do is we decided to show that there's no way for you to remove Sexy Callie by minting her as an NFT on the Polygon blockchain, right? And the way it works is that people would buy it, and then they would tweet about it using the hashtag Sexy Callie. And then when they tweet about buying it, we would retweet it on Atheist Republic, which has like close to 140,000 followers on Twitter. We will retweet it, and that way they would be able to resell the NFTs that they bought. Okay, and then again, just to make sure that we don't accidentally scam anybody, we told people that this probably won't work. Like, this is like, if you buy an NFT, we're not telling you that you're gonna make money from buying and reselling it. Okay, so we weren't one of these people who were saying like, oh, to the moon, like buy it now and make a lot of money. Like, we weren't saying that. Okay, the main goal was to bring more attention to Sexy Callie and the whole situation of us being removed from Twitter and all the crap that we had to deal with just for simply drawing a picture of a Hindu deity. Okay, that was the main intention, right? And to also have it minted on as an NFT on a blockchain to make it immutable forever, right? So when you actually post an NFT on the OpenSea marketplace of NFTs, you don't actually, it's not still minted, right? It will only get minted when somebody comes and buys it for you, because the buyer is also paying for the gas fee, right? And because all 10 of them have now been bought from us, that means not all 10 of them have been minted on the Polygon blockchain, right? So people who bought them, we put the prices at as low as possible. Like, we were selling them for $2, $3, $2, $3, $4, $5. So the main cost people were paying was the gas fee, right? And they paid for, so the people who paid for this paid for the minting. So they paid for them to be on the blockchain. So thank you for everybody who did that. And again, even though we didn't promise this, what I have to say is that all the people who bought it, they managed to resell it for a higher price. Okay, so again, we didn't promise. Like some people are saying, "Oh, this is a scam." How is this a scam? How could this be a scam when we tell you that we're not telling you that you're going to make your money back? Okay, you might not. We didn't say you will. So how is this a scam? Okay, we were just trying to get it minted on the blockchain. And I'm actually going to bring up some of the accusations. But even though we didn't promise that, every single person that has bought this, the first after at the minting price, managed to resell it at a higher price. Okay, like look at the activity. So if you go look at the activity, let's look at this one, for example. Ooh, look at, okay, so yeah, look, the trading activity on this just went up, right? So for example, this one, yeah, so this person bought it from us at this price, so like $5 or $6, and then they sold it at this price, much higher price. This is like, I don't know how many times higher this is. Like, so people bought it from us at like $2 or $3, and then they managed to resell it at like $300, $300, like, or prices like that. This is crazy. I didn't even know. This is our first experience with blockchain minting and selling NFTs, and it worked out very well. Like, there's a lot of potential here. Oh, look, like this person sold it at $190. This person sold it at $40. This person sold it at $190, and they bought it from us. Look, they bought it from us from $4, $3, $3, and a lot of people who are now buying it at these higher prices, a lot of them are not selling it anymore. So if you actually go to all of the items, right? So like we only minted 10. We're not going to mint any more than 10, right? Of Kalima. But if you go buy now, you only see that only 6 of them are available. So some people who are buying them, they're not even reselling them, and they're just making it. They're just holding on to it for some reason. I don't know why.
That's
they like
Cali.
it so much. That's why I'm not gonna sell it anymore. Okay,
My
so they
Cali.
bought it for close to $200, and they just like keep holding on to it. So only 6 of them are now available for sale. Okay. So yeah, if you want to buy it now, they're available, but they're not. We're not selling them anymore. Other people are selling it. I want to address people who were like complaining about this and be like NFTs are bad and stuff like that. Okay, so let me bring that up. Oh yeah, guys, if you do own one of these Callies, or if you bought one of these Callies, go to Twitter, take a picture of of your NFT, tweet about it, and use the hashtag #SexyCali so we could retweet it and help you resell it. Again, no guarantee that you're going to be able to resell it. Okay, so this is not a scam because we're telling you that it's not going to, it might not happen, right? But so, for example, like this person who bought it, he tweeted about it using the hashtag #SexyCali. So, right, and he sold it right after he bought it. He sold it. This one I didn't retweet because this is not available for sell anymore. Look at this. Yeah, this person who bought this, I can't buy it anymore. I have to make an offer, so I'm not retweeting that one. But look at this person. This person's complaint. Okay, so we have a person who's saying, some people complaining about us getting into NFTs. So Avery is saying, so after years of following Atheist Republic, I'll now say goodbye. Not for the blasphemy. I'm all for that. But the eco and social effects of NFTs are something I and many are strongly against. It's your right to do as you wish, but it's served only to sully you in my eyes. Okay, so maybe this person should have actually watched the video that they're responding to, because we actually addressed that in the video. This was on the Polygon blockchain. Okay, the Polygon blockchain is very environmentally friendly. It's a layer 2 solution. It's a layer 2 to Ethereum. It doesn't have, first of all, Ethereum itself is moving from proof of work to proof of stake. So Ethereum's impact on the environment is going to be very small when they move towards that. But even now, we didn't use the Ethereum blockchain. We used the Polygon blockchain specifically for the fact that it's environmentally friendly. So you're full of crap. Whoever you didn't even have to do your research. You could have just watched the video that we talked about. By the way, as I mentioned, another advantage of being on the Polygon blockchain is that Kali is Indian and Polygon is also a blockchain that was founded in India. So that's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's poetic, right? Let me see what other criticism they have. No, that was it. Yeah, on Facebook, a whole bunch of other people were also saying like, oh, why are you doing this? This is environmentally not friendly and blah, 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 blah. Again, you don't know what you're talking about. The Polygon blockchain is very environmentally friendly. So there's that. Just for full transparency, just to be transparent, there is what you pay for when you trade it is a creator fee, which if that adds up to just 10%. And also a gas fee. The creator fee will be collected to make more art. The gas fee just goes into making the Polygon blockchain more secure, I guess. It's a security fee, basically. What are people's views? Like, I want to make sure that I address, because we might like lean into this whole blockchain world and NFTs and everything, right? Because we work, a lot of Atheist Republic's work is art, so we would, and also social media. Like we want to make sure that if blockchain provides us with platforms which are, less sensorial, we have our eyes open for that, just to see what platforms this whole Web3 is going to provide for that. So we're going to lean into that very heavily, both because we have been victims of very heavy-handed censorship from traditional Web 2.0 social media platforms. So that's why we would be very interested in alternatives if they come into the future. And also because we're heavily, our work is very closely related to art, because of our Blasphemy art. We are going to be very much leaning into anything, any solutions that the blockchain world could provide to us, right? But I want to make sure that we are listening to our audience, and we're taking your feedback, as long as it's an educated feedback. Like, I want to make sure that we want to make sure that we don't accidentally start a scam, even if we didn't have an intention to start a scam. So we're going to be here and come and explain to you guys what we're doing. And we want you guys to criticize us if you think we're moving in the wrong direction. So for us to take your criticism seriously. Us taking your criticism seriously doesn't mean that I'm not going to make fun of you when you say something stupid. Okay. So that doesn't mean like I'm still going to do that. Right. But we will listen to what you have to say.
Beep Boop is saying Hindufa can buy them and stop selling them if they're clever.
Sure, they could do that.
They have a point. They can stop the proliferation.
Yeah. Yeah, and also, guys, by the way, when you also look at the environmental cost of a lot of these, a lot of the blockchain, you have to compare it to the alternative. Like, the alternative way of doing contracts and legal work and financial work requires office space, requires commutes, requires manpower, requires keeping the lights on, requires, and the maintenance of all of that is more costly to the environment, both from the energy perspective and space, and the space it takes and the pollution it causes. Even if you just focus on Ethereum and Bitcoin, if they are taking away from that, technically they are a net positive to the environment. They could potentially be a net positive to the environment, right? If you are replacing some traditional finance with, again, these are all ifs, okay? I don't know if any of this is going to happen or not. But if they could replace any of the legal framework that we have right now, if they could replace any of the financial framework that we have right now, the cost to the environment of the traditional way that we do finance and legal work is more costly to the environment than this one, right? Especially when Ethereum moves to proof of stake instead of proof of work, right? By the way, Polygon is already layer 2, right? Polygon is already proof of stake, so there's no. So for example, Blank Name is saying, how is it environmentally friendly? Well, because you're not paying with energy. Like, for example, Bitcoin, when you're mining Bitcoin, the way that you have to pay for mining Bitcoin is with energy, right? You have to, that's how, right? But when you have proof of stake, you don't use energy for mining, okay? You just use the coins that you already have as a way to mine new coins, right? So that doesn't cost energy. So this method is environmentally friendly. Blank Team is saying, what is layer 2? Layer 2 is basically, so you have one blockchain that is providing you with all the security and all the main transparency and immutability and trustlessness that you need, and you use that as a base, and then you have another blockchain that is founded upon that blockchain. And because you're already using a lot of resources that the layer 1 blockchain is using, the layer 2 wouldn't have to redo all of that. So that's why. So for example, Polygon is a layer 2 blockchain built upon the Ethereum blockchain. So that's why the gas fees are so much lower. That's why everything you do is a lot faster. So you have all the security of Ethereum, but without all the costs, but and all the speed of like something like Solana or Cardano, but more secure because you're based upon Ethereum. Anyways, you guys could go watch videos in this. I don't know if I want to spend if I'm the best person to explain all of this, right? Anything else people have? I want to make sure we provide enough opportunity for people to criticize us for what we're doing, because guys, like NFTs, blockchain, these are technologies, okay? When people say these are scams, yeah, they are, a lot of them, right? But they could be used, technology could be used for scam, and it could be used for, things that are not scams. Given the original hype that a new technology has, 90% of it will end up more than 90% of it will end up being failures, just like we went through the .com bubble with the internet, right? Just like most of what was introduced originally when the internet was introduced as a new technology end up being pure hype and a lot of scams, right? A lot of people lost their money. A lot of it was like promises that was never kept, right? But that doesn't mean the underlying technology is completely useless, right? The internet can be used for scams, but eventually when the original hype dies out, it will find its actual use case. And that will survive. The underlying technology is more likely to survive and be a lot more useful than a lot of maybe useless things that people are doing with blockchains and NFTs right now, right? It's like saying, NFTs are like paper, right? If somebody draws something useless as a piece of paper, you can't be against the technology that is paper. Paper is still a great technology that was invented, right? But you could use it for something useless, or you could use it for something very useful. These are the blockchain and NFTs are right now solutions that are looking for a problem. And they're very eager to look for problems that they are the solutions to. And because of the desperation, a lot of times they are going to find things that didn't even need the solution. But this is exactly when the internet was, when it first was introduced to the world, right? This is exactly what smartphones were. People were making fun of, like, oh my God, I thought phones, like, I need phones to call people. Why is this doing the things like, is this a phone anymore? Is it like a camera? Is it a calculator? People were making fun of that. People were making fun of the internet. Again, I'm not saying that the blockchain is going to be as relevant as the internet, but it might. It might. I'm just saying the scams that exist doesn't dismiss the fact that these technologies will have the use case. Again, you have something that is immutable, that is transparent, that is trustless. If you have anything like that, even if it was not the blockchain, is like, it's weird for you to think that that doesn't have any use, right? If you have a network where you could just put things on, if you have like a ledger that you could just put things on and everybody could see and nobody can change, okay? I don't know what people are using it for right now, but if you claim that that has no use case, then you're out of your mind, okay? Imagine if you had the magic powers to just write something on the sky, okay? And everything you write on the sky, everybody would see always, and nobody could change that, okay? You might like, okay, what am I going to do? You might draw a dick pic and people are going to be like, okay, that's ridiculous. Why are you doing that? Okay, in the sky. But just because that's ridiculous, that doesn't mean that we can't find an amazing use case for this ability right now, okay? This is an ability that we have right now, and I'm pretty sure you could use it for something amazing. Maybe not right now, but at some point we will. Richard is like, great. Like, Richard is like, I love how Susie is just zoning out right now. Yeah,
I'm listening.
Like, anyways, we'll see.
This is just what you're very knowledgeable about, so I'm just going to let you go for it. Why would I interrupt?
All right.
So, congratulations, Armin, on a very successful NFT launch. This was your idea, and it really took off a lot better than you even anticipated. So,
yeah, Yeah, I didn't actually expect that. This is our first experiment. We're just doing trial and error. I just want to make sure we do this right, because right now a lot of people are sensitive about this. So I want to start small and then listen to you guys and see if you guys have an issue with it or you think we're going the wrong way, and then adjust accordingly. I just want to make sure we don't get into this, um, you know, jump in and all of a sudden do something that we regret.
Fair enough.
All right, guys. Yeah, Qasim was saying people are paying attention more to Susie while Armin is talking. Yeah. People are like, okay. All right. I guess. I guess, yeah. Anyways, it worked for people. So as long as it works, we'll see what we could do next with this. All right, guys. Thank you for being here. Please make sure you like this video. Please make sure you share it with as many people as you can, as long as it's safe. And thank you for being here.
Yes,
and
if you
we'll
stayed
be
this long and you didn't subscribe, what's wrong with you? You clearly like being with us. Just go ahead and subscribe, and you can hang out with us every week for the news.
Yeah. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.